Hey everyone, pre-requests, I'm starting Soul Land 5, The Rebirth of Tang today. My channel isn't monetized, so if you're able to, please support me on PayPal to help me stay active. Chapters 281 through 300 of the previous episode. Seeking noble status, Tang San leads the Shrek Squad in the Great Beast Fighting Arena's lethal group battles. They first crush armored elephant demons using precise icicle headshots. In Match 2, they bypass the Bloodshed team's elemental stripping with a teleportation array disc for a rapid win. Facing a golden coin leopard in the third match, Tang San unleashes a blinding snowstorm AoE, paralyzing the leader to devour its golden bloodline. Having won 30 Nature coins, but attracting dangerous attention, Tang San retreats to the Kali Mountains to evade pursuers. Thank you. Now let's get back to the story of Soul Land 5 of the Rebirth of Tang San.
Dubai, helpless as he was, had no choice but to follow. Fortunately, Wu Bingji was there to drag him, ensuring he wasn't an oppose. T left behind. They walked for over an hour. Dubai was so tired he could barely stand it, and a white fog loomed ahead. Tang San said, "Stick close to me, Don and oppose." T stray beyond 5 meters from my side. As he spoke, a small array disc appeared in his hand. The array disc, activated by his mysterious heaven technique, emitted a faint halo, and a strange scene unfolded as the fog ahead miraculously parted to reveal a path. "What is this?" The other four exchanged shocked glances. Even the weary Dubai widened his eyes in astonishment. Tang San smiled slightly and said, "This is the secret base my master set up for us. Let and oppose us go." Indeed, the place he had brought them was none other than Golden Valley. Comrades who had faced life and death together were trustworthy, and they could only grow stronger here. Under Tang San and Appo's lead, the other four followed closely behind, moving in sync as they entered the dense fog. The surrounding fog was so thick that even spiritual power couldn't and Appo's penetrate beyond 10 meters. It was as if they had entered another world. But trusting Tang San, they did not ask questions and simply followed him. When the fog finally cleared and everything before them brightened again, a look of awe appeared in everyone and Appo's eyes. The morning sun shone down through the center of the fog overhead like a golden pillar of light descending into the valley. That beam of golden light illuminated a golden tree beside which lay a clear lake, its surface glittering under the same golden illumination. Inside the valley, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth was so rich it felt almost viscous, and exotic flowers and plants covered the ground. The faint fragrance of plants was so refreshing that it seemed to sweep away the fatigue of a night in Appo's travel instantly. Compared to the outside world, this place felt like a paradise. Not only was it breathtakingly beautiful, but it also filled them with an indescribable sense of wonder. For Wu Bingji, Gu Li, Dubai, and Chang Zicheng, everything before them seemed like a miracle. The thick fog overhead was also tinted gold by the sunlight, yet it remained undispersed, with only the central beam of sunlight brilliantly vivid. Is this the divine realm?" Dubai murmured to himself. Tang San smiled slightly, turned to the four and said, "Welcome to Golden Valley. This is a secret base established by my master for our organization." Every time something unexplainable happened that involved Tang San, Mayor Zhang Haoshuan was there to take the blame. At that moment, the mayor was sitting under the golden tree, cultivating. His presence fully corroborated Tang San and Appo's statement, leaving no room for doubt among the group. "Wow, the Redemption Society has such an amazing place?" Dubai could hardly believe his eyes. "Is that over there a purple sun fruit? Do we have them here too?" What an appos is that? It smells amazing. Can you not act like a bumpkin? Chang Zicheng kicked him lightly, then turned to ask Tang San, can we eat anything we find here? Tang San and Appos' mouth twitched slightly as he said, let and Appos' go talk to the mayor first. Zhang Haoshuan had opened his eyes from meditation, and Tang San could feel the fluctuations in his master and Appos' bloodline power. It seemed stable, but there was a sense of a volcano on the brink of erupting, clearly indicating that he was getting closer to a breakthrough he could hardly control. Master, we and Appos' won the first 3 matches. I and Appos' brought everyone here to rest. Tang San winked at Zhang Haoshuan. Good, then rest here. Tang San, come with me, Zhang Haoshuan said. Okay. Tang San signaled the others to rest under the golden tree, while he followed Zhang Haoshuan to the side. The organization responded. They were quite diplomatic, saying they hope I return to take a position rather than stay here. They didn't in Appos' mention helping me with my breakthrough. Clearly, they will only help if I agree to return. What a disappointment. Zhang Haoshuan and Appos' expression turned more forlorn. He had done so much for the organization, including sharing half of the profits from the array disk, so he had not expected such treatment. Tang San said that and Appos' nothing unexpected. They and Appos' just too eager to have full control over the array disk. After all, we did take half of the profits. They and Appos' seen the immense benefits of the disk. So, even if you have to go back to report, you should first advance to God level. Once you reach that point, no one will be able to shake your position. Zhang Haoshuan hesitated, then asked, can we really do it on the sea? Tang San gave a slight smile, pointing at the golden tree. Did you really think I could grow a piece of golden wood into a golden tree at first? Zhang Haoshuan laughed too. Why do I feel like I and Appos' boarded a pirate ship? Tang San laughed and said, not only have you boarded it, but you have to make it look like a legitimate vessel. Alright, I trust you. So when do we act? Wait for me to break through to the 8th order. Once I and Appos' broken through, I and Appos' have more certainty. I and Appos' am afraid I can and Appos' wait that long. I and Appos' am increasingly unable to control my own power. I and Appos' am trying to compress it, but there and Appos' only so much compression possible. I don and Appos' dare to be reckless in case I don and Appos' compress it well enough and it erupts, that would be trouble. Tang San reassured him, don and Appos' worry I and Appos' I'll be quick. How quick is quick? Zhang Haoshuan curiously asked. Breaking through to the 8th order was and Appos' as difficult as the 9th, but it wasn't something that could be done just like that. Tang San said, tonight. Tonight? Zhang Haoshuan and Appos' mouth twitched wildly, and he almost wanted to ask if Tang San was joking, but looking into Tang San and Appos' clear eyes, it was obvious he was serious. Don and Appos' rush things or force growth, Zhang Haoshuan said urgently. Don and Appos' worry, teacher. Haven and Appos' I always been reliable? Steadiness first. Tang San said cheerfully. Alright then, it and Appos' up to you. I and Appos' I'll be waiting. If you break through, I and Appos' I'll protect you. Okay, good. Let the senior brothers also stay here and cultivate for now. The recent competition has stirred them, and it should spur their cultivation, especially since this place is more suited for it. After I break through, I and Appos' I'll help you with yours. Just then a voice full of surprise sounded. Master, you and Appos' here. From the direction of the cave, figures dashed over the water and swiftly made their way to the shore. Light and graceful figures soared over the lake, shimmering with golden ripples, creating a truly beautiful scene. Wu Bingji, Chang Zicheng, Dubai, and Guli stood by the golden tree dumbfounded. What was happening? Where had all these beautiful women come from? The 3 young men in particular were slack-jawed. These were all human girls, each stunningly beautiful with creamy complexions. They all appeared to be around 16 or 17 years old, in the prime of youth. Among the 3, Wu Bingji was already considered an adult, while Guli and Dubai, though younger, had passed the age of youthful naivety. Although there were some female students at the Redemption Society, they were few in number, and even fewer were notably attractive. The sudden appearance of 18 Crimson Fox girls was a massive visual shock to them. Is this a fairy realm? Have we reached a fairy realm? Or perhaps the legendary divine realm? Dubai muttered to himself. Indeed, the wondrous scenes before them, coupled with the sudden appearance of these fairy-like beings, left them unable to think of any explanation other than a fairy realm. Then they watched as the 18 girls approached Tang San, respectfully bowed before him, and called out, "Master." Upon reflecting on the wonders brought by Tang San, their expressions toward him underwent a drastic change. Tang San and Appo's gaze swept over the young girls, sensing the vibrant life force emanating from them. Their cultivation had improved, and training in the Golden Valley had indeed doubled their results. "Not bad, everyone has improved. Keep it up," Red One said with a smile. "Everyone and Appo's working hard. Our goal is to be able to help you in the future, Master." Red 18 also interjected, "Master, this place is really great, but it and Appo's a bit lonely. When will you take us out to play?" She was the youngest, about the same age as Tang San, but she was also the most daring. Tang San replied, "Wait a bit longer. When all of you have reached the fourth order, I and Appo's consider taking you out. So you need to work even harder." Red One and Appo's eyes lit up. "Can we really go out?" Tang San said, "Of course. Even though I bought you, you are all free. If you truly wish to leave one day, no one will stop you. But for now, it and Appo's impossible, as you Don and Appo's yet have the strength to protect yourselves. So you need to keep working hard." "Thank you, Master." Red One was excited. "Being able to go out occasionally is enough. We One and Appo's leave you. Everything we have is because of you." Tang San simply smiled and said nothing. "Little Tang. Oh, I mean Brother Tang, aren't and Appo's. You going to introduce us?" A hesitant voice came from behind, and without looking back, Tang San knew who it was. "Master and I rescued these girls from a major auction. They were originally slaves of the Crimson Fox clan. Because their appearances were too striking and could cause unnecessary trouble in the city, my teacher and I brought them here to live. This is Red One, and the rest follow in order of age, up to Red 18. Tang San turned and introduced the Crimson Fox girls to the approaching Wu Bingji, Dubai Guli, and Chang Zicheng. "Little Tang, is this the divine realm? I really think, could you be the reincarnation of a god? This place is just too wonderful." Dubai rubbed his hands together, his gaze sweeping over the Crimson Fox girls, unable to hide his excitement. In his heart, Tang San thought, "Well, you're close enough. Not a god, but a god king. You and Appo's, re-overthinking it, go rest now. Everyone else go and cultivate." The latter sentence was naturally addressed to the Crimson Fox girls. Dubai had planned to go forward and introduce himself to the girls, but Wu Bingji hooked his arm around his neck and walked him back to the golden tree. Zhang Haoshuan shook his head with a hint of helplessness and said to Tang San, "Go ahead and break through, I and Appo's. I'll protect you." Inside Tang San, his energy surged violently. Indeed, it was time for a breakthrough. He also moved to the other side of the golden tree, sat down cross-legged on the spot, and began to enter a meditative state, focusing on the rich life energy from the tree. He had taken a full year to go from the initial 7th order to the peak of the 7th order, consistently suppressing his cultivation. His spiritual power had fully recovered, and with his energy-devouring ability, his cultivation could go as fast as he wanted. If he wished, he could even attempt to elevate his cultivation to the peak of the 9th order within the year and try to break through to the god level. Of course, he would and Appo's do that, as rushing things could cause many issues and potentially destabilize his foundation, especially since this world was different from his previous one, with many natural laws differing. Thus, despite having been in this world for a number of years already, he was still exploring some aspects. Over the past year, he continuously compressed his cultivation, refined his spiritual power, and nurtured his divine consciousness. He focused more of his energy on cultivating his divine consciousness. After reaching the peak of the 7th order in his mysterious heaven technique, he constantly compressed and solidified his power. He also refrained from randomly absorbing energy from others. With different bloodline purities, the effects of absorption varied, and without a particularly powerful bloodline, it wasn't Appo's worth absorbing anymore. Moreover, Breaking through to the god level in this world was not an easy feat and required much more preparation. After absorbing the bloodline power of a 9th order elephant demon and a 9th order leopard demon one after the other, however, his cultivation could no longer be suppressed. He had to advance, and he had to do it now. Tang San now possessed 6 types of demonic god transformations, including the Discerning Eye of Heaven and the Peacock transformation, 2 top-tier bloodline powers, and also the Golden Rock, Chrono Croc, Blue Silver Emperor, and Wind Tiger. Among them, the Discerning Eye of Heaven was still at the 5th order, as the main bloodline in it was the Celestial Fox bloodline. In other words, without Dubai and Appo's evolution, he could hardly further develop the Discerning Eye of Heaven. The bloodline power of the Etherhorn deers he absorbed a few days ago only served to consolidate the Discerning Eye of Heaven imprint and significantly enhance its elemental sensitivity. The Peacock transformation was at the 7th order, since that was Mei Gongzi's cultivation when Tang San absorbed her energy. Thus, the strongest bloodline imprint Tang San had was that of the Peacock transformation. The Golden Rock transformation was at the 7th order, the Chrono Croc transformation at the 6th, and both the Blue Silver Emperor and Wind Tiger transformation were at the 7th order. Once he advanced to the 8th order, only the bloodline powers of the Blue Silver Emperor and Wind Tiger transformation could potentially break through along with him. The rest still required his companions to continue with their own breakthroughs before they could be elevated. Relatively speaking, his divine consciousness was continuously nurtured and steadily recovering. The recovery wasn't Appo's too fast, but it was very stable, and that was what mattered. To reach the god level once more, the most important thing was his divine consciousness. Before reaching the peak of the 9th order, he needed to find a way to restore his divine consciousness to the state it was in when he first reached the god level, to stand a greater chance. As his soul core revolved, the life essence around nourished his body, and the cultivation that Tang San had been suppressing exploded instantly. His body radiated light, and everything around him suddenly brightened. He was absorbing a great amount of life energy from his surroundings, giving him an almost translucent appearance. On the other side, the members of the Shrek squad, who had just started to rest and had not yet entered a meditative state, immediately felt what was going on. Dubai and Appo's eyes lit up, murmuring to himself, a breakthrough? 8th order? Little Tang reached the 8th order too? His face was, unsurprisingly, full of envy. Wu Bingji was the first to reach the 8th order, but when Tang San first arrived at Redemption Academy, Wu Bingji was already at the 6th order, while Tang San was only at the 4th order. And now, Tang San was about to catch up to their senior brother, reaching the 8th order as well. How could that not make the others greatly envious? 8th order, that was the 8th order. Among the teachers, Mu Yunyu and Mu Wenqing were only at the 8th order themselves. Tang San now possessed the same level of power as his teachers. Moreover, his true capabilities were certainly not as simple as they appeared on the surface. Wu Bingji felt this most profoundly. In yesterday and Appo's battle, he clearly sensed that the snowstorm had been almost entirely under Tang San's control, with very little input from Wu Bingji. He had studied with Tang San for just 2 days after all. How could he possibly have learned such a powerful combination skill that required controlling not only his own power but also that of others? At the time, Tang San had told him to just freely release ice elemental energy and condense ice and snow, and to leave the rest to him. In fact, Tang San single-handedly managed the entire battlefield, and from Wu Bingji's perspective, he alone was enough to defeat the Bloodshed team. Tang San had always been reluctant to reveal too much of his abilities, so Wu Bingji still did not know what his real strength was. Now that he had also broken through to the 8th order, without a doubt, he was the true top powerhouse among the students of the Redemption Academy. As he broke through, everything fell into place naturally. His meridians began to expand, washed over by energy as mighty as a raging river. The soul core and spirit core within his body also expanded. While the changes to the spirit core did not amount to much, since it was already at the peak of the 9th order, his soul core expanded quite a lot, enhancing Tang San and Appo's capacity to store the energy of the mysterious heaven technique. Massive waves of energy swirled around him as his soul core absorbed life force to nourish itself. At this moment, Tang San seemed to possess the air of a young adult, even though he was not even 14 yet. The aura around him flowed incessantly, continually elevating. He showed none of the difficulties typically associated with such breakthroughs. Zhang Haoshuan stood not far behind him, silently watching his disciple effortlessly break through to the 8th order, at a loss for words. 13 years old. An 8th order human at 13. This was unprecedented in the Redemption Society's history. Even Mei Gongzi with her talent hadn't an Appos. T achieved this. But Tang San had achieved just that, and Zhang was increasingly convinced that Tang San was the savior, the Messiah bestowed upon humanity by the heavens. After a successful breakthrough, Tang San hesitated briefly before integrating the bloodline imprint of the 9th order elephant demon. He did not choose the golden coin leopard bloodline imprint, as the teleportation ability it granted was too similar to what the peacock transformation imprint offered him. While they were suppressed by the Shrek squad during the battle, elephant demons were still mighty beings, and the war stomp, if used well, could be terrifyingly powerful. More importantly, the bloodline power of the elephant demon would greatly benefit Tang San and Appo's physical strength. Of course, he kept a spot open, a chance to integrate a potentially more powerful bloodline. When Tang San reopened his eyes, it was already noon. He had completed his breakthrough overnight. From this moment on, Tang San was at the 8th order. At this time, the other 4 members of the Shrek squad were still meditating, the recent days of tension and continuous battles having taken a significant toll on their bodies and minds. Zhang Haoshuan felt the vigorous fluctuations of energy within Tang San and asked, "You call this a breakthrough?" Tang San looked at his teacher, puzzled. Zhang Haoshuan somewhat helplessly said, "I mean, your breakthrough was just too easy. If every human could cultivate as simply as you, that would be just..." Tang San chuckled and replied, "That and Appo's the benefit of slow accumulation and instant release I held back from breaking through and kept building up strength, so when I did break through, everything fell into place naturally. You and Appo's LL probably feel the same when you reach the god level. Shall we go now?" Zhang Haoshuan said. Tang San shook his head. "No rush, just get ready. For now, keep absorbing life energy under the golden tree. Don and Appo's worry about anything else, just focus on absorbing as much as you can. What if I absorb too much? I feel like I might lose control and break through at any moment. If I break through here, it could cause big trouble." A breakthrough to the god level was a significant event. Once he broke through here, concealing the existence of the Golden Valley would be impossible. Tang San reassured him that one and Appo's happen. I and Appo's LL keep guard and prevent you from breaking through easily. Trust me, once you and Appo's absorbed enough life energy, we and Appo's LL head straight to the sea. Zhang Haoshuan looked at him deeply for a long moment, then finally nodded, gritting his teeth. Okay. His excellent disciple had never let him down before, and he trusted that this time would be no exception. Zhang Haoshuan sat cross-legged under the golden tree and began to meditate, absorbing the life essence emitted by the tree. Tang San stood beside him. His advancement in cultivation made him more sensitive to energy and gave him greater control. As Zhang Haoshuan had said, his bloodline power within was now surging powerfully, and although he was trying his best to suppress it, it indeed felt uncontrollable. A faint smile appeared at the corner of Tang San and Appo's mouth. Human strength alone couldn't and Appo's suppress it, but divine power could. Zhang Haoshuan breaking through to the god level wasn't an Appo's a big issue, given the many years he had been accumulating and refining his strength. This was further enhanced by a year of nourishment from the golden tree and Appo's life energy. The greatest benefit of the golden tree wasn't an Appo's actually the quantity of life energy it provided, but its quality. Filtered through the tree, the spiritual energy of this world condensed into an exceptionally pure life energy. In this world where the spiritual energy was incredibly dense, the life energy condensed was naturally pure. This was also why the Crimson Fox girls could continue to improve even with their diluted bloodline. Tang San had also brought the members of the Shrek squad here to elevate their life forces, particularly for Dubai, Chang Zicheng, and Gu Li. The greatest obstacle to advancing was the dilution of their bloodline. High-level, high-purity life energy was key to stimulating their bloodline powers further. While it couldn't and Appo's matched the effects of immersing in high-order blood of the same lineage, it was still a valid method. It would not be an easy task for Dubai to break through to the Sixth Order under normal conditions, but here it was possible. Before heading to the ancestral court, Tang San aimed to help his companions advance as much as possible. At the very least, Dubai to the Sixth Order and Guli to the Seventh Order, which would allow his chrono-croc transformation to enter a new stage of evolution. The Sixth Order of chrono-croc transformation allowed Tang San to use time acceleration in addition to time freeze. By reaching the Seventh Order, he might just gain the time reversal he so desired. Meanwhile, the Fifth Order of the Celestial Fox transformation could control fortune in a small area, and the Sixth Order would likely come with increased control over fortune. This was equally important to him. As Tang San pondered, he noticed that there was a change in his master's state. After more than a year of consistently absorbing life energy, Zhang Haoxuan had now finally unleashed the power hidden deep within his bloodline and surpassed the peak of the Ninth Order. A faint golden shimmer passed through Tang San and Appo's eyes as an invisible pressure quietly emanated from his head. It was the aura of divine consciousness, but under Tang San and Appo's control, its manifestation was very subtle. This faint fluctuation of divine consciousness landed on Zhang Haoxuan, instantly calming the surging bloodline power within him and suppressing the spiritual power in his sea of consciousness. Zhang Haoxuan, who was feeling painfully swollen due to excessive energy intake, immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Though he was in a state of meditation and unaware of the outside world, he vaguely understood that the changes in his body were somehow related to Tang San. Thus he began to accumulate life energy once more. After their first meditation session, the other 4 members of the Shrek squad felt the great benefits of cultivating in the Golden Valley. The rich life force was even better than any natural treasure, greatly aiding their cultivation. Hence, they chose to continue training in the valley. Tang San remained by Zhang Haoxuan and Appo's side, and whenever there was a hint of his energy becoming uncontrollable, Tang San would channel a bit of his divine consciousness to help suppress it. As a result, the life energy accumulated within Zhang Haoxuan grew increasingly abundant, and the sense of fullness in his body intensified. Finally, after 3 days, when Zhang Haoxuan felt that he was truly stuffed to the absolute limit, he opened his eyes, as if something had been awakened within him. The first person he saw was Tang San. "Master, let and Appo's go. Eldest brother, you guys should keep cultivating here." Tang San greeted Wu Bingji and the rest, then headed out of the valley with Zhang Haoxuan. Zhang Haoxuan felt a nagging prickling sensation throughout his body. He was like an inflated balloon on the verge of exploding. Once out of the valley, golden light flickered behind Tang San as a pair of huge golden wings unfolded from his back. "Master, climb on my back. I will carry you," Tang San said. At such a time, Zhang Haoxuan naturally did not stand on ceremony and immediately climbed onto Tang San and Appo's back. Tang San and Appo's wings flapped. Driven by the Eighth Order power of the mysterious heaven technique, the golden rock transformation made him faster than ever. Within moments, they were far from Golden Valley, heading northeast. The golden rock was the fastest among all flying demons, and stories said that it could traverse 90,000 li in one stretch, its golden form darting through the sky like a shooting star. Zhang Haoxuan concentrated inwardly, struggling to contain the explosive energy within his body. He couldn't and Appo's help but smile bitterly. There were already some god-level powerhouses in the Redemption Society like Siru. He had naturally inquired in detail about how Siru had broken through years ago. But to his knowledge, absolutely no one had ever reached the state he was in before a breakthrough. Getting himself blown up like a balloon, what was this all about? Despite his condition, Zhang Haoxuan felt a sense of amusement. While his present state was certainly not ideal, it seemed he didn't and Appo's need to prepare much for his breakthrough, nor did he need to exert effort to stimulate his energy. It felt as though he was constipated, and with just a little relaxation, everything would burst forth immediately. Tang San and Appo's flight was swift, and it wasn't Appo's long before Zhang Haoxuan heard the sound of the waves. "Tang San, be careful. The endless blue sea is swarming with sea demons," Zhang Haoxuan hastily warned. How could he ever know what Tang San felt inside when he saw the boundless sea? Before him stretched an endless expanse of azure, and the deep, inscrutable blue in the distance slowly turned pale and transparent closer to the shore, the clear waters revealing the fine sand beneath. A gentle sea breeze wafted by, carrying the distinctive scent and moisture of the sea. Seagulls occasionally flew across the sky, their cries clear and melodious. The depths seemed filled with endless mysteries. Rich water elemental energy permeated the air, and Tang San could vaguely feel the vast life energy surging from within the sea, an unmistakable sign of the countless marine lives gathered together. This was the sea of this world. Although he had been here for over a decade, this was his first time seeing its sea, and everything here moved him profoundly. Tang San took a deep breath and reassured Don and Appos, "Ti worry, master." His wings flapped once more, propelling him and Zhang Haoshuan away from the shore. A point of golden light appeared on Tang San's forehead. It was not bright, but it allowed Tang San to sense everything below him. Strangely, where Tang San passed, the tumultuous sea became calm, as if not even a single wave dared to rise. Deep in the endless blue sea demons subconsciously lifted their heads, sensing something that brought them a strange joy stemming from somewhere deep within their souls. It was as if the endless blue sea had suddenly gained a special charm, filling each of them with heartfelt delight. The next moment, a multitude of sea creatures began surging toward the surface, swimming swiftly with joy and anticipation. A faint smile appeared at the corner of Tang San and Appos' lips. Memories of his previous life flooded his mind. He vividly remembered undergoing 9 difficult trials and finally standing in the temple, grasping the golden trident that symbolized dominion over the sea. The moment he drew the trident, he claimed his godly seat. Indeed, in his past life he was a god king, and his godly seat was that of the sea god. He was sea god Tang San. In this life, the bit of divine consciousness he still had was a remnant of the sea god. In other words, the sea god still existed in a sense, and even though he was in another world, the sea itself was the same, as familiar as ever. Here, he could clearly feel his divine consciousness becoming ever so active, so exhilarated. In this place, the nourishment of his divine consciousness was noticeably accelerating. Even if he used some of his divine power here, it would quickly replenish. The sea itself was his home ground, the world he was meant to dominate. This was why he had insisted on bringing Zhang Haoshuan here for his breakthrough, because here, he could fully protect his master. Zhang Haoshuan suddenly felt something strange. The sound of the waves had disappeared. The scent of the sea was still there, but why had everything become so calm? He instinctively peered over Tang San and Appos' shoulder, and then he witnessed a scene he would never forget. The calm sea was like a lake's surface, not a single ripple to be seen. And on that tranquil surface, a dense array of various heads poked out of the water. These were various types of fish, sea turtles, seals, and walruses, some small and some large. An enormous army of marine creatures stretched as far as the eye could see. At this moment they all peered above the surface, silently watching them. Or rather watching Tang San. A drop of cold sweat trickled down Zhang Haoshuan and Appos' forehead. Tang San seemed to sense his master and Appos' nervousness, and in the next instant, he threw back his head and let out a long howl. Simultaneously, the golden light on his forehead shone brightly. A golden halo expanded rapidly from his forehead, and his howl carried far across the sea. Immediately, the dense mass of sea demons that had surfaced plunged back into the sea, and the vast expanse of water turned completely still. At the same time, however, a rich essence of life quickly converged toward Tang San. "Master, let and Appos' begin," Tang San said to Zhang Haoshuan. Zhang Haoshuan had a very peculiar expression on his face. Are you a sea demon?" Tang San responded helplessly. "You and Appos." Overthinking it. "I am just a human, 100% pure human." "Haven and Appos. You checked before?" "It and Appos. Just that I have an affinity with the sea." "There and Appos. No time to explain now. You should focus on your breakthrough first. Once you and Appos broken through, I and Appos I'll explain everything while we return." Zhang Haoshuan let go of Tang San's shoulders and took some distance. This was indeed not the time for discussions. His short hair suddenly turned fiery red as rich fire elemental energy burst forth from within him. The bloodline of the blaze lion surged within him, causing his body to instantly increase in size. Supported by the power of his bloodline, he floated in midair. Flames roared around his body, and his eyes also turned a deep red. The powerful energy that had been suppressed within him now burst forth freely. Tang San flapped his golden wings, flying to a distance, and silently watched Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's transformation. Helping Zhang Haoshuan ascend to the god level was also crucial for him. This was a vital moment for understanding this world. Only by gaining a deeper understanding could he attempt to communicate with this plane and find a way to achieve his own divinity. Zhang Haoshuan took a deep breath and roared toward the sky. Instantly, golden red flame surged upward, searing half the sky, which seemed to twist and warp in an instant. The sky darkened, heavy with clouds, as if the heavens were about to collapse. It was time for the divine ascension tribulation. It was something every being aspiring to the god level had to face. This was why Zhang Haoshuan could not undergo his tribulation within the Kali Mountains. If he was too close to Kali City, powerful beings would surely come to investigate. He had no one to back him, so if someone interfered, his breakthrough might well fail. The clouds in the sky thickened, adding an invisible pressure between heaven and earth that made breathing somewhat difficult. Even Tang San was forced to descend near the sea and conceal his divine consciousness. He certainly did not want to be recognized by the plane as a foreign element and be struck down. The golden red flames on Zhang Haoshuan burned ever more fiercely, and within him, his bloodline underwent a profound transformation amidst the blazing fire. A terrifying aura rose from the intense flames, tinging the dark clouds above with shades of red. A muffled thunderclap sounded, and the world around them changed. Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's short hair stood on end, his eyes wild with frenzy. He spread his arms wide, and behind him, the immense silhouette of a red lion appeared, letting out a silent roar toward the heavens. The blazed lions ranked high among third-tier bloodlines, but they did not reach the second tier. Therefore, under normal circumstances, it would not be easy for Zhang Haoshuan to ascend to the god level. At this moment, however, his cultivation was at the absolute pinnacle of the ninth order, and he had so much energy he literally could not contain it. Suddenly, a crisp sound echoed, and a speck of golden light shone on the forehead of the immense blazed lion. It illuminated Zhang Haoshuan, rendering all his flames golden. This was somewhat reminiscent of the golden holy fire Tang San had once seen on the golden lion dog during Mei Gongzi's expedition to hunt winged tigers. However, the characteristics of this fire were different. From the golden flames enveloping Zhang Haoshuan, Tang San could feel an intensity, an unmatched ferocity. The seawater below began to warm up. The golden flames permeated Zhang Haoshuan's body, making him look entirely golden. This was why all beings aspired to godhood. Ascension equated to a metamorphosis of the bloodline, providing a substantial boost to those of lower bloodline tiers. Of course, even when someone with a second-tier bloodline broke through to the 10th order, their bloodline could not become a first-tier bloodline. A first-tier bloodline was entirely a matter of innate gift. Either they had it or they didn't. However, during the transformation of a third-tier bloodline, if the power was sufficient, it could evolve to possess capabilities at the level of a second-tier bloodline. Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's transformation into gold was such a metamorphosis. His path to godhood had opened, and he was transforming completely. With such a long period of accumulated power, he was able to choose the most advantageous method for his breakthrough. Just then, the clouds in the sky slowly turned dark red, and in the next instant, a terrifying bolt of crimson lightning descended from the sky, striking Zhang Haoshuan. Zhang Haoshuan shuddered violently, but the giant lion shadow behind him suddenly turned golden, spewing a burst of golden flames that shone upon him, turning his charred body back to gold. The ascension to the god level in this realm was a transformation, and it was also a form of tempering. Through the baptism of heavenly lightning and the evolution of one and Appo's bloodline, one reached another level of existence. Obviously, this transformation was not easy, and the pain endured was also quite significant. It was no wonder that one could reach godhood even without inheriting a godly seat. Tang San silently assessed this in his mind. In his world, genuinely becoming a god required a godly seat, a legacy handed down from god to god that granted control over a domain. In this realm, however, it was all about refining oneself to reach the god level. This was, of course, logical. This plane lacked a divine realm altogether, so there was no such thing as a godly seat to begin with. The gods of this realm and the true deities Tang San knew from the divine realm of his original world were different. However, one thing was clear. Gods who successfully cultivated in this realm definitely possessed physical strength far surpassing those in Tang San and Appo's original world. Tang San could also faintly sense that the heavenly lightning formed from the plane and Appo's energy harbored ill will toward him. Although he had concealed his divine consciousness completely, he still felt a numbing sensation when Zhang Haoshuan was struck, as if he also was about to be targeted at any moment. His spirit core pulsed incessantly, seemingly on the verge of breaking through. Tang San desperately used his divine consciousness to suppress it, to avoid being triggered. It almost seemed as if the heavenly lightning was deliberately tempting him. Despite his current cultivation being at the 8th order and spiritual power at the 9th order, he could genuinely die if he tried to break through, even with the protection of his divine consciousness. If the plane confirmed that he was an alien, the lightning striking him would be far more severe than what Zhang Haoshuan experienced. It would be less of a trial coupled with tempering and more of an attack with intent to kill. Thus, Tang San was laying low, hoping that the heavenly lightning would ignore him. At the same time as Zhang Haoshuan was struck, Tang San silently observed the changes in the lightning, particularly the will emanating from it, which was directly related to the will of the planar ruler. He most needed to determine whether the planar ruler was an instinctual being or one with consciousness and perhaps even superior intelligence. He would need to employ different strategies to deal with these different scenarios. Once again, a bolt of crimson lightning struck from the sky, hitting Zhang Haoshuan hard and nearly casting him into the sea. Awesome! Zhang Haoshuan roared as the golden flames on his body intensified once more. The robust life force accumulated within him evolved and rapidly replenished his energy. Although the lightning brought terrifying force, it also tempered his physique and his sea of consciousness, evolving every bit of him to another level. Zhang Haoshuan was well prepared for this. He simply continued to release his own power to withstand the tribulation. The benefits of his long and careful preparation became apparent at this time. After enduring the tribulation of lightning twice in succession, he began to feel changes in his body, and he was still far from his limit. The reason he had intended to ask the Redemption Society for help was that those tribulations typically needed to be guarded by others. In critical moments, God-level beings might intervene to help share the burden to ensure a safe ascension. Although this would reduce the intensity of the tribulation and result in an incomplete tempering, any kind of tempering was better than dying. This was also why the Redemption Society did not press Zhang Haoshuan too hard. They were sure that if Zhang Haoshuan wanted to ascend to the God level, he would need the protection of the organization. The tribulation would be extremely dangerous without at least 2 gods to help. They did not expect him to be so bold. Zhang Haoshuan had been at the peak of the 9th order for a long time, and in the past year he had accumulated more than enough. This was why he dared to attempt the tribulation directly. He knew that if he could successfully undergo the tribulation all by himself, the benefits would be far greater. Complete tempering would grant him more power after ascension and even the possibility of further advancements in the future. Bolt after bolt of lightning fell, striking Zhang Haoshuan down as he soared through the air again and again. Behind him, the fiery red lion and Appo's silhouette gradually solidified and began transforming into gold, a certain sign of progress. However, Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's own exhaustion was considerable. He now understood why Tang San had insisted he absorb life energy for 3 additional days as best as he could. During this tribulation, the life energy from the golden tree allowed him to recover rapidly, healing his injuries. But as thunderbolts struck, this pure life energy was rapidly depleting, causing Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's gut to tighten. It was his first time facing such an ordeal, and he had no idea how long the lightning tribulation would last. The sky remained dark with no sign of the tribulation abating. Another massive bolt of lightning crashed down, smashing Zhang Haoshuan down. He barely managed to stop before he hit the surface, yet a feeling of emptiness began to emerge inside him. Was his accumulation still insufficient? Zhang Haoshuan furrowed his brow. Just then, to his surprise, he noticed the sky brightening slightly, suggesting the lightning tribulation might weaken. Tang San and Appo's voice came through then. Teacher, when you get struck again, let yourself fall into the sea, and I and Appo's I'll help replenish your energy. Zhang Haoshuan Kuden and Appos. T speak at that moment, but hearing this he felt greatly reassured. Indeed, when the next bolt of lightning struck, it was noticeably smaller than before. With a loud boom, Zhang Haoshuan was struck from the sky and fell into the sea. The storm clouds in the sky also dispersed a bit more. As Zhang Haoshuan fell into the sea, his high body temperature instantly caused a large swath of mist to rise. However, the next instant, he felt a massive surge of energy from the sea rushing into his body, swiftly replenishing his. Although he naturally resisted the water element due to his fire-attributed bloodline, the influx of energy filled him and refreshed him. Oh, this must be working, right? Zhang Haoshuan naturally felt in high spirits, greatly relieved. But in the next instant he tensed up. A foreboding feeling suddenly emerged in his mind. Although he hadn't Appos fully become a god yet, he could be considered a demigod, and his spiritual power had developed some features of divine consciousness, making his premonitions of danger much more accurate. What in Appos is going on? Is there a problem? The mist before his eyes rose at that moment, so he couldn't and Appos see what was happening outside. Meanwhile, Tang San was staring in shock. When Zhang Haoshuan fell into the sea, Tang San had triggered the life energy within it to replenish his teacher. But in the moment he did that, it seemed his presence was sensed and invisibly, a certain will seemed to sweep through the area. Tang San almost instantly closed off his divine consciousness, letting his body sink into the deep sea. However, in the sky, the tribulation clouds that had been dispersing became dense again and seemed to double in size. Feeling the crisis, Zhang Haoshuan burst out of the sea and left the thick mist just in time to see 3 massive blood-red lightning bolts, as thick as water barrels, coming straight at him. Before, the tribulation lightning bolts had come one by one, but this time there were 3 of them at once, and they were even more powerful than before. The culprit, who was sinking deep into the sea, was muttering in his heart, "Master, I and Appos. I'm sorry." Tang San indeed had good intentions when he used his divine consciousness to guide the energy in the sea to replenish Zhang Haoshuan. However, the problem was that he did this during Zhang Haoshuan and Appos' tribulation. The plane and Appos' power was focused on this area, and his otherworldly presence was immediately detected. Although Tang San immediately closed off his divine consciousness, the plane and Appos' power still struck down. Facing the 3 massive bolts of lightning, Zhang Haoshuan didn't and Appos hesitate for a moment before plunging back into the sea. Surging flames rose, attempting to block the descent of the lightning. A streak of white light burst from beneath the water at that moment, illuminating him and causing the 3 massive bolts to deviate slightly. They didn't and Appos hit him directly, but the energy fluctuations around them still blasted Zhang Haoshuan away. The sea around him was instantly vaporized, and the lightning left a crater over 1,000 square meters in size on the bottom of the sea. Zhang Haoshuan felt his mind go blank at that moment, as if his entire spirit and emotions had completely vanished in an instant. Unknown to him, a vine had silently wrapped around his ankle, and just as the lightning rampaged wildly, it had pulled him sideways into the water. Zhang Haoshuan and Appos' tribulation was in fact already over. The 3 massive bolts that followed were not aimed at him but at the alien that the plane had detected. The alien completely vanished under the lightning and Appos' assault, and the clouds in the sky lingered for a while before quietly starting to disperse. Tang San and Appos' mouth twitched as he looked at the unconscious Zhang Haoshuan before him, speechless. While he was using his divine consciousness to mobilize the life energy in the sea to aid Zhang Haoshuan and Appos' recovery, he also intended to test the plane and Appos' reaction by revealing a minute amount of his divine consciousness. Clearly, the plane had a stronger repulsion against him than he had anticipated, and this was the result of merely revealing a sliver of his consciousness. What if he were to undergo his own tribulation? Would and Appos' the entire plane and Appos' power be directed against him? That would be a major problem. If he couldn't and Appos' resolve this issue, reaching the 9th order would be his limit. More importantly, once his strength reached a certain level, he would automatically begin absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to replenish himself, and his cultivation would silently and slowly increase. Unless he crippled his own powers, He would inevitably have to face a heavenly tribulation one day. That was the most troubling issue. This probe made Tang San fully aware of how intensely the plane repelled foreign elements. Under these circumstances, undergoing a tribulation was utterly impossible. He needed to think carefully about what to do next. However, having once been a god king and understanding the mysteries of the universe, Tang San could somewhat comprehend why the ruler of the Phelan planet would reject him so strongly. Setting aside whether the planar ruler acted on instinct or had actual intelligence, at the most superficial level, the resources of Phelan planet were extremely abundant and vast, far more so than on any other planet Tang San knew. Otherwise, it could not give rise to beings like the demon emperors or nymph emperors, entities that rivaled first-class gods back in Tang San's world. Upon reaching such a level of energy, the future development of Phelan planet would inevitably evolve into a divine realm. And this was one reason it naturally repelled Tang San. Outsiders would immediately covet a planet with such rich resources. Once controlled by a powerful external force, the plane and Apos' energy would be exploited, and the divine realm established would be led not by the planar ruler here but by another entity. In other words, the plane instinctively tried to avoid becoming a juicy piece of meat consumed by an outsider. Tang San believed that the plane allowed for so many powerful beings to exist precisely in order to defend against such an invasion. With that in mind, if he wanted to attain divinity here and regain his status of God King, he had to devise a strategy. Zhang Haoshuan was naturally going to survive. He had been blessed by the celestial fox vision, and with Tang San and Apos' timely rescue, he had been able to cross his tribulation. Although he was affected by the 3 lightning bolts just now, his divinity had only deepened, as if he had undergone a further baptism. While he was injured, he would eventually emerge stronger. However, at this moment, Tang San did not dare to utilize the life energy from the sea to replenish his master's energy, as activating his divine consciousness was too dangerous. The tribulation clouds had yet to completely disperse, so caution was paramount. Therefore, he could only drag Zhang Haoshuan, swiftly swimming underwater back in the direction they had come from. He did not dare to surface. The marine creatures in the sea watched from afar, not approaching. Tang San had retracted his divine consciousness, but he still emitted a familiar and comforting aura. In addition, this part of the sea was shallow and close to the demon continent, so there were no particularly powerful marine creatures present. Swimming was much slower than flying, and although Tang San and Apos' speed in the sea was quite fast, it still took a considerable amount of time before he finally managed to drag Zhang Haoshuan ashore. Lying on the beach, listening to the echoing sound of the waves, Tang San was so exhausted that he did not even want to lift his fingers. After all, he was still only at the 8th order, and even with the vitality of the mysterious heaven technique, he could still get tired. Zhang Haoshuan remained unconscious, but his body instinctively absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to replenish itself. He was overly exhausted and needed ample time to recover. The best course would be to return to Golden Valley to recuperate, but Tang San was physically drained and needed to rest first. At this moment, his mind was exceptionally clear. He recalled the entire process of Zhang Haoshuan breaking through to the god level. It was nothing more than the power of the plane testing him. In Tang San and Apos' perception, this tribulation was much simpler than those he had faced in the Douluo continent. When he was ascending to godhood, he had faced countless difficulties and challenges far beyond the scope of a heavenly tribulation. Of course, this was also related to the high status of his godly seat. Ultimately, after great efforts, he had become a god, a part of the divine realm. In Tang San and Apos' view, becoming a god in this realm, or at least reaching that level of cultivation, was actually easy. In this plane, once a being reached the peak of the 9th order and triggered a tribulation, the chances of surviving the tribulation were actually quite high. Zhang Haoshuan was human, and humans and Apos' physiques were significantly inferior to those of demons. Even so, with sufficient accumulation and preparation, even without Tang San here today, he still would have had an 80% chance to pass the tribulation. This meant that the planar ruler supported the advancement of the plane's beings, not only to protect the plane but also to facilitate its evolution. If this plane truly wished to ascend to the level of a divine realm, the most crucial aspect was a transformative breakthrough. Simply put, It required the emergence of a god king, like Tang San himself, or like his grandson Tang Xuanyu on Heavenly Dragon Planet and Heavenly Horse Planet. The latter had become a god king and ultimately the new dragon god, establishing a divine realm with the twin planets as a foundation. Purely from an energy level perspective, even the twin planets combined could not compare to Phelan Planet, yet they had been able to advance and become a divine realm. Thus, the possibility of Phelan Planet achieving this was even greater. Moreover, it would not be just any ordinary divine realm. So why had it not achieved this over so many years? What was the reason? It seemed there were some underlying issues on this plane. Otherwise, with such vast resources, there should have been no reason for it not to advance. Various thoughts wandered through Tang San and Appo's mind. He knew he needed to understand all this to have a chance of transcending the tribulation and becoming a god. Becoming a god was essential for him, not just for a longer life, but also to regain his former strength. Only then could he take his wife back to their world and reunite with his family and friends. After resting for 2 hours, Tang San had fully recovered his strength. No longer feeling the oppressive force from the plane, he once again activated the Golden Rock transformation, flying back to Golden Valley with Zhang Haoshuan. When Zhang Haoshuan awoke from his deep sleep, the first things he felt were warmth and vitality. A rich life energy enveloped him, giving him a cozy feeling all over. Though he felt a bit too weak to exert any strength, he was very comfortable. "Did I get struck dead?" Zhang Haoshuan mumbled bewilderedly. "Master, you and Appo's very much alive," a familiar voice responded. Zhang Haoshuan steadied himself and then saw Tang San and the others from the Shrek squad around him. He blinked, looked down at himself subconsciously, and saw that he was wearing a clean set of clothes, presumably changed by Tang San. More importantly, he seemed different. Did I succeed?" Zhang Haoshuan asked Tang San directly. Tang San nodded with a smile. At this moment, the mayor finally came to full consciousness, the excitement in his eyes undeniable. He had succeeded, yes, he had truly succeeded. He had ascended to the god level. He immediately got up, sat cross-legged, and silently felt the changes in his body. A faint golden halo instantly radiated from him, enhancing the warmth around him. His skin also took on a light golden hue, carrying a divine aura, which made the eyes of the Shrek squad and Appo's members burn with fervor. Ascending to godhood symbolized power, longevity, and the future. Even humans who became gods were highly sought after, should they choose to ally with powerful clans. For any demon or nymph clan, a god-level powerhouse was greatly needed, as it added to the clan and Appo's heritage. Zhang Haoshuan had achieved the god level, which was quite a stimulus for them. Wu Bingji, in particular, was already at the 8th order, and he was getting closer and closer to that level. If the mayor could do it, so could he. Behind Zhang Haoshuan, a golden light gradually coalesced, transforming into a lion entirely engulfed in brilliant golden flames, very much like a golden lion. However, unlike Tang San and Appo's romantic rival, the golden lion dog, the golden flames around Zhang Haoshuan were tinged with crimson. They were not the golden holy fire of the Golden Lion clan, but a different type of flame that also possessed a special property like those granted by a golden bloodline. The characteristic of the golden holy fire was its ability to devour an enemy and Appo's power and convert it into its own. On the other hand, the golden crimson flame that Zhang Haoshuan produced seemed to focus on pure heat, and they felt hot enough to even incinerate spiritual power. Now that he had reached the 10th order, Zhang Haoshuan's bloodline had also evolved, and it was now at the 2nd tier. Although there was still a gap between it and the pure bloodline of the Golden Lion clan, it still made him stronger than the average lion demon who had reached the god level. This was directly related to Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's gradual build-up and enduring an extraordinarily powerful tribulation he should not have faced. The mayor has reached the god level. That and Appo's awesome. I can and Appo's wait till I get there too, Dubai said enviously as he gazed at Zhang Haoshuan. Guli scoffed and said, "Have some self-awareness. Even if I became a god right here and now, you still couldn't and Appo's make it. Dubai for once did not argue. He sighed and said, "Yeah, I know." He knew he possessed the greatest talent. The effects of the celestial fox vision were undeniably powerful, at the very highest tier of bloodline powers. Yet precisely because of this, advancing the celestial fox transformation was extremely challenging. He was not a demon, and his bloodline was naturally diluted. Cultivating to the 7th order was already a daunting task. He didn't even want to think about what he needed to do to reach the 10th. Tang San patted Dubai on the shoulder, comforting him. Take it one step at a time, Don and Appo's tea rush things. Dubai nodded. Cultivating here feels great with all this life energy nourishing me. I feel like my bloodline power is starting to stir. It wasn't Appo's. Tea just him. Wu Bingji, Gu Li, and Chang Ziqing also felt that cultivating in Golden Valley was beneficial. The dense life energy had an excellent nurturing effect on their bloodline powers. They understood that this life energy played a crucial role in Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's breakthrough. Tang San and Appo's array continuously absorbed the spiritual energy from the Kali mountain range. The most impressive part of this array was that the golden tree at its core received the greatest nourishment. As the tree grew, it in turn enhanced the whole array, enabling it to draw spiritual energy from even farther away and creating a virtuous cycle. Therefore, not only was the golden tree growing, but its growth rate was consistently increasing. Given some time, it could easily grow into a towering tree. The life energy it emitted was immensely beneficial to all living beings. Tang San said, while we're preparing for the next group battles, let and Appo's all cultivate here. Brother Dubai, your goal is to break through to the 6th order during this time. And Brother Gu Li, you should aim for the 7th order. Yeah, I and Appo's. I'll do my best, Gu Li said confidently, pumping his fist. He was already at the peak of the 6th order, and just like Dubai, he faced the challenge of insufficient bloodline concentration. But here, nourished by the life energy of the golden tree, he could feel himself nearing that threshold. The 7th order was also a tough challenge for him, but once he broke through, it would be a qualitative leap in his power. His control over time would significantly improve. Zhang Haoshuan and Appo's meditation had lasted for 2 full days, and he needed to further stabilize his realm and heal his wounds. Even with the life energy from the golden tree, the injuries he had sustained during his tribulation required time to heal. Having completed his breakthrough to the 8th order, Tang San and his companions, now fully rested, naturally planned to return to the great beast fighting arena to continue their battles. They were 7 group battles away from becoming nobles. What they didn't in Appo's know was that after their last battle, as a team with 3 consecutive victories, their Shrek Headshot squad had already gained some fame. Besides their strength, their human identity was a significant reason for their fame. Though Kali City was predominantly demon-inhabited, humans were the main vassal race. Hearing that a team of humans had won 3 group battles stirred significant excitement among them. Almost blindly, they became fans of the Shrek Headshot squad. As a result, the Great Beast Fighting Arena got numerous inquiries daily from people who wanted to watch the matches of the Shrek squad. Although human vassals couldn't and Appo's compete with demons in terms of wealth, there were still some among them who held higher status. Particularly among some of the gentler demon clans, the intelligence of humans was highly valued. Compared to demons, the human vassals were significantly oppressed, most living under continuous repression, and hence had a greater need to express their emotions. Yet, in a world dominated by demons, where could they freely express themselves? A single misstep could mean death, forcing them to live cautiously every day. Thus, when they learned that a human team had not only managed to defeat 3 teams of demons in the Great Beast Fighting Arena, but also marked their victories with resounding headshots, nothing could be more thrilling and exhilarating for the human vassals. The audacious act of killing the demons that oppressed them felt truly satisfying. Consequently, even though the ticket prices were high, they were still eager to witness firsthand how their fellow humans overcame the powerful demons at the arena. It brought them a strong thrill and yearning for humans to rise. Even Tang San hadn't and Appo's anticipated this. Thus, when the Shrek squad returned to the Great Beast Fighting Arena, they were immediately received warmly. It was still the same bloodthirsty demon ape, but its attitude had greatly changed. Welcome back. Are you ready to take on the next challenge? This time it spoke of a challenge unlike before, when it seemed to see them as already dead. When can it be arranged? Wu Bingji asked. The bloodthirsty demon ape immediately replied, it can be arranged right away. You'll get a match tonight at the earliest. And just so you know, the tickets for your match are incredibly popular. Many of your fellow humans want to see your battle. Seems like they want to cheer you on." Hearing this, Wu Bingji paused, then turned to look at Tang San and his other companions. In that moment, a fiery light ignited in the eyes of him and the others. The bloodthirsty demon ape watched with a cold gaze, clearly noting the emotional shift among them. This was exactly why it had made that statement, to incite the squad to engage in more battles. For the great beast fighting arena, who won or lost was not important. What mattered was how to seize profits. A heated match, one that sparked discussions or even controversy, allowed for more betting opportunities. For example, it had been approved that, starting with the next match, bets would be placed on whether humans or demons would win. This type of racial rivalry betting carried the most passion. Yet previously, humans had never had such an opportunity to see fellow humans go up against demons. Although human vassals were overall poor, they were large in number, and demons would never bet on humans in such matchups. Naturally, the odds for humans would be higher. Thus, as long as the Shrek squad kept winning, the Great Beast fighting arena would rake in huge profits. And if they lost, the arena would suffer no loss, as they merely took a cut from the bets. The more people bet, the more the arena earned. Then please arrange that for us. Can we stay here before the match? Wu Bingji asked. He didn't oppose. He want to spend more money on hotels, even though they had quite a bit of money now. Of course. After arranging accommodations for the Shrek squad, the bloodthirsty demon ape immediately went to set up the match. However, their battle ended up scheduled not for that evening but for the following. The bloodthirsty demon ape explained that the organizers of the Great Beast fighting arena needed time to prepare. The Shrek squad residing within the Great Beast fighting arena did not know that news of their upcoming match had spread throughout Kali City almost immediately, and this news excited the human vassals. The betting windows at the Great Beast fighting arena were opened for battle duration bets and, in an extremely unusual display, win-lose bets between humans and demons. Most human vassals couldn't oppose. Afford tickets to watch the matches, but they could certainly place bets. Even if it was just one demon's hard coin at a time, the amounts became quite significant when the bets started mounting in volume. Due to this match, Kali City saw a surge in betting that hadn't oppose. Been seen for a long time. Numerous human vassals flocked to the betting stations of the Great Beast fighting arena, placing their money on the Shrek squad. The arena even extensively promoted the Shrek squad's past 3 fights, and there was a hint of deliberately highlighting the defeated demon squads. This naturally stirred more excitement among the humans and considerable discontent among the demons who were keen followers of the arena battles. The betting amounts soared. Tang San and his 4 companions were resting in their room, strategizing and adjusting their condition. The following day, they met the bloodthirsty demon ape again. The ape told them that their victories had caused quite a sensation. This meant that if they won again, they would not only receive the guaranteed prize but also a cut from the bets that were placed, as well as from the ticket revenue. Their cut was 1,000th in the 4th match, and with each consecutive victory, the cut would increase by 5%. This was the victor and oppose's reward. Usually, this was a bonus only granted after 6 successive victories, but due to their unique situation, it began with this match. After all, if humans could achieve 10 consecutive wins and earn nobility status, it would be an incredibly stimulating prospect for all human vassals. While the cut was just a mere 1,000th, given the enormous total bet amount, it represented a significant figure. Of course, the biggest earner was still the Great Beast fighting arena, which charged a handling fee of 10% of all bets. Wu Bingji and the others didn't have a clear concept of the significance of these numbers, as they were unaware of the scale of the betting. However, Tang San knew that this could turn out to be a significant source of income for them. Of course, that was contingent on winning the match. A defeat would mean certain death, and then there would be nothing to discuss. He also realized that the upcoming matches would likely not be easy to handle. As night fell, not only were the lights bright within the Great Beast fighting arena, outside it was also crowded with people. Guan Longjiang stood far off on the roof of a tall building. From his position, he could overlook the general situation around the arena. His eyes moistened when he saw the throngs of human vassals, many clad in patched garments, surging toward the Great Beast fighting arena. What do humans need most? Hope, yes, that's what they need most. Living in a world dominated by demons and nymphs was like enduring an endless, sunless darkness and the cold of an eternal winter night. Had humans been creatures of low intelligence, perhaps the feeling wouldn't be as pronounced. But precisely because they had that very intelligence the demons and nymphs loved to exploit, they yearned all the more to see the dawn. The Redemption Society had thus been established. However, the enemy they faced was overwhelmingly powerful. The formidable might of the demons and nymphs left humans without even a chance to breathe. Reduced to mere vassals, they could only gain some strength through the shameful reliance on bloodline inheritances from demons and nymphs. Life was exceedingly hard for humans in this world. While the humans with vassal status had better living conditions compared to slaves, all of them carried a burden of shame. Their very existence meant that their mothers had endured the assault of a demon, and at the same time most of their mothers had been killed by demons once their bloodlines were confirmed. This deep-seated hatred meant human vassals could never truly align themselves with the demons or nymphs. Of course, these two powerful races did not need human allegiance. To them, humans were dispensable. And now, amidst this endless darkness and cold, a group of humans known as the Shrek Squad had brought a spark of flame. Could this single spark start a prairie fire? That remained to be seen. The streets around the great beast fighting arena were filled with humans, except for the pathways cleared by the guards. They murmured and prayed, hoping for victory for their squad. Bound by their humanity, they harbored no doubts as they stood united with the Shrek Squad. Even knowing they might lose their savings and face massive disappointment, they still chose to bet in support. The human vassals did not bet on the duration of the battle, but on the outcome. Despite their poverty, in this moment they were united as one. Guanlongjiang slowly sat down on the rooftop, tears ready to overflow from his eyes at the sight. What a sight! What an unprecedented sight! Never before in human history were we this united. This unity is the true hope of humanity. He had never imagined that the very thing he had vehemently opposed would evolve into this. Yet he deeply felt the flame hidden within human hearts, the flame of resistance against oppression. Although humans were still far from being a match for the demons and nymphs, at least they were not entirely submissive at heart. Given the chance, a real chance, humans could unite and stand as one. Taking a deep breath, Guanlongjiang and Apos' expression gradually relaxed. He clenched his fists subconsciously and murmured, "Go for it, kids. Perhaps you and Apos are about to perform a miracle. And whether you win or lose, the light of dawn you brought will not be extinguished. The rise of humanity has begun." The match was about to start, and the Shrek Squad was once again brought into the waiting room. The bloodthirsty demon ape, surprisingly, did not leave immediately but stared at them with a strange look. "Is there something else?" Wu Bingji asked. The bloodthirsty demon ape chuckled, "Nothing much, but I think it and Apos' better to tell you something before you go in." Now thousands of human vassals have gathered outside the great beast fighting arena, probably praying for your victory. Most of them have also bet on the outcome of this match, all betting on you. You have no idea of your status now in the hearts of the human vassals of Kali City. It seems like they see hope in you. Upon hearing these words, the 5 members of the Shrek Squad were visibly shaken. Tang San and Apos' gaze changed instantly. As clever as he was, he almost instantly grasped the key significance. A surge of indescribable excitement rose within him, stemming from one realization. Humanity was not numb. For a race, the true horror was not enslavement but numbness. A numb population was one without any chance of a better future. What did this gathering prove? It proved that within them burned an ember ready to turn into a blaze at any moment. Across the demon continent there were many humans. If they could truly stand united, they would be a formidable force. Tang San showed no outward sign of his thoughts, but he understood that the Shrek Squad and Apos' upcoming battle was no longer just for themselves. It was also to let the humans of Kali City truly see the dawn, a dawn that would come from humanity itself. Bloodthirsty demon ape chuckled. "So you and Apos' better win, otherwise there and Apos' will be a lot of disappointed humans. It and Apos' about time, let and Apos' go." As a demon it didn't and Apos' realize how significant this event was for humans. After all, demons had always looked down upon the seemingly weak humans, and would never expect them to harbor any spirit of resistance. Wu Bingji and Appo's gaze was cold and resolute, and the four people following him each experienced different emotions. However, they all shared one burning sentiment, a sense of duty. The massive gate in front of them slowly opened, and a roar was heard. It sounded like a combination of a mountain collapsing and a tsunami striking the shore. This time, as Tang San and his friends saw the light outside, they also saw the gate of the great beast fighting arena opposite them opening at the same time. Yes, this time they were not making an early appearance, but were entering the arena simultaneously with their opponents. This also signified the arena and Appo's recognition of their strength. Let an Appo's do this. Wu Bingji clenched his fist and swung it powerfully. Let an Appo's do this. The squad shouted in unison, then strode out into the arena with confidence. Cheers, restless noises, curses, and roars rose from the stands like a wave. The majority of the spectators in the stands were still demons. However, in an inconspicuous corner, a group of nearly 100 humans, dressed somewhat more brightly, caught Tang San and Appo's eye. They were also shouting something, but their voices were completely drowned out by the demons and Appo's roars. With his purple demon eyes, Tang San could faintly make out their lips moving. Go Shrek! Go humans! He took a deep breath, a long-lost bitterness swirling in his heart as he said to himself, Go humans! At that moment, their opponents had also entered the arena. Unlike the previous fight where they faced opponents of the same race, this time, their 5 opponents were from different races. Leading the way were 2 burly male demons, each over 3 meters tall, with exceptionally broad shoulders and a pair of thick black horns on their heads. Their skin was dark and rough, and their muscles looked like braided steel. They wore metal helmets but were bare-chested, and each held a weapon resembling a wooden post, engraved with blood-red markings. It didn't take much thought for Tang San to identify their race. These were bovine demons, and their weapons were known as totem poles. These were powerful weapons blessed by their race through years of rituals. Judging by their stature and the totem poles they wielded, these 2 bovine demons were surely the backbone of their race, the Earth Demon Oxen. This clan was heralded as one of the 8 mightiest warrior clans of the Empyrean Dominion. The other 7 were all clans belonging to powerful races. Meanwhile, the bovine demons were not considered strong, but the Earth Demon Oxen were an exception. They possessed the strength and resilience of their kind as well as formidable defenses, and they were fearless in combat. The totem poles in their hands symbolized the pinnacle of their lineage and Appo's might. Bovine demons did not possess a golden bloodline. Their rulers were the totem priests. The Earth Demon Oxen obeyed only the commands of these priests. Armed with their totem poles, they were a terrifying presence on the battlefield. Only those Earth Demon Oxen of the 7th order or higher were eligible to wield a totem pole. The 2 oxen before the Shrek squad were likely around the 8th order. Their gazes were cold and their auras heavy. The totem poles in their hands emanated a bloody scent, as if containing a mysterious power. It was because of the Earth Demon Oxen that the other bovine demons could hold their ground in the Empyrean Dominion and avoid becoming a vassal race like the pig demons. 50,000 Earth Demon Oxen warriors represented the true backbone of their race, possessing the strength to confront any mighty clan head-on. Behind the 2 Earth Demon Oxen warriors, a tall, slender male walked in the center. It looked very human-like, and its lean figure was outlined by a white suit. Its white hair had a streak of red. Its eyes were narrow and flickered with cold light. It held a long sword in its hand, not an ordinary weapon but one empowered by an array and exuding a chilling aura. Was this a red-crowned crane? Red-crowned cranes were one of the noblest races, one led by a demon emperor. These possessed high intelligence and a natural talent for wielding weapons, particularly swords. In fact, the demon emperor of the red-crowned crane lineage was also known as the Sword Saint Demon Emperor. Although few in number, nearly all red-crowned cranes were formidable. The one in the arena right now was definitely at the 9th order. Just looking at these 3, one could imagine that Tang San and his companions were up against carefully selected opponents once more today. Following the red-crowned crane, there were 2 fox demons. These were unlike any Tang San had ever seen. One was male and one female, both with gray hair and tails, and upon closer inspection, One could notice the strange deep blue tips of their grayish-white fur. Are they blue foxes? They're masters of spiritual power and have amazing support abilities. Tang San and Appo's gaze swept over the 5 opponents. This battle would not be easy. The toughest to deal with was the red-crowned crane, a quasi-first-tier bloodline at the 9th Order. Even among those of the 9th Order, differences in bloodline tiers resulted in vast disparities in strength. The red-crowned cranes were considered quasi-first tier because the Sword Saint Demon Emperor that led the clan was ranked lower among the Demon Emperors, and the Emperor status involved more than just bloodline power. The reason few registered for the team battles in the Great Beast fighting arena, aside from the near-certain death for the losers, was that only the truly strong dared to sign up. Without top-tier strength, who would risk their life? Moreover, those who did were often desperados, the type who valued money over life, willing to gamble it all in the team battle. Though not perfect, the opponent and Appo's team combination was obviously potent. The red-crowned crane was likely their strongest, while the earth demon oxen wielding the totem poles for both attack and defense were also extremely formidable. The 2 blue foxes and Appo's support abilities could not be underestimated either, and together, they undoubtedly enhanced the team and Appo's overall strength. Tang San murmured, "Senior brother, I'll take on the red-crowned crane. The rest are up to you." Wu Bingji turned to him. "Should we go with Snowstorm?" He too had noted the strength of their opponents. Tang San shook his head and said, "The Earth Demon Oxen's totem poles might have some dispelling abilities. Snowstorm might not affect them much. Plus they have support. Use your icicles against the Earth Demon Oxen. They know we have a teleportation array disc and probably won't stray far from those 2 blue fox demons. The red-crowned crane will probably be the main offense. I'll hold off the red-crowned crane while you guys attack from a distance. If we take down the red-crowned crane, the other 4 won't be much of a problem." Brother Gu Li and sister Chang Zicheng tried to disrupt the blue foxes and Appo's support abilities. "Got it." Gu Li and Chang Zicheng nodded in agreement. The tactical setup didn't and Appo's take long, and soon, the announcer's familiar, high-pitched voice filled the stands. Today's battle promises to be a spectacle. Will the Shrek squad continue their streak of decisive victories, or will the Sword Demon squad advance? Let's wait and see. The betting for the battle's duration is now open. The match will start momentarily. The wait was longer than expected, leading both teams to eye each other intently. The red-crowned crane's gaze was locked onto Wu Bingji, clearly identifying him as the core of his team from the information they had gathered. With his 8th Order cultivation and continuous defeating of 9th Order opponents, his icicles had left a deep impression in the Great Beast fighting arena. Indeed, the Shrek squad's reputation for decisive victories was almost entirely due to him. Let the battle begin. At last, with the announcer and Appo's loud call, the fourth team battle of the Shrek squad officially commenced. Both sides and Appo's auras surged instantaneously. Leading the charge, the two Earth Demon Oxen raised their totem poles high and charged toward the Shrek squad. Following them closely were the two Blue Fox demons, their steps light and tails swishing quickly as they advanced. It was evident from the blue gleam in their eyes that they were activating their bloodline abilities. The red-crowned crane, however, remained unmoved. Suddenly, a pair of pristine wings unfurled behind it. Obviously, the red-crowned crane could fly. The unassuming longsword in its hands completely lost its sheen, turning dark. The demon fixed its chilling gaze on Wu Bingji, giving him the unnerving sensation of a thorn in his back. On the Shrek squad and Appo's side, Chang Zicheng spread her wings and soared into the sky at the same time. The others also unleashed their own demonic god transformations. Wu Bingji raised a hand, and two icicles shot toward the two Earth Demon Oxen. Not caught off guard, the Earth Demon Oxen smashed their totem poles against the ground as they charged. Accompanied by two booming sounds, the runes on the totem poles burst into dazzling light, sending a shockwave over a vast area. The two icicles exploded abruptly, ejecting forwards a second time, almost instantly burrowing into the midst of the shockwave. However, at that moment, the totem poles suddenly enlarged, blocking the path of the icicles. The icicles lost their luster, a sign that the ice elemental energy supporting them was weakening, and they were shattered in the next instant. Just as Tang San had anticipated, these totem poles indeed possessed the ability to disperse energy. This was not limited to scattering the elemental energy in the air. It also scattered various negative effects and energy-based attacks as well. It wasn't an Appo's as thorough as elemental stripping, but it was quite remarkable in its ability to block attacks instantly within a certain range. Then, two beams of light lit up from the hands of the blue foxes behind the Earth Demon Oxen, and two streaks of blue light landed on the oxen. Suddenly, the bodies of the Earth Demon Oxen expanded, and they let out a deep bellow, their eyes instantly turning blood red. The 3-meter-tall Earth Demon Oxen grew further to over 4 meters. The totem poles in their hands were raised high, then crashed down a second time. With an ear-splitting roar, the resulting shockwave surged toward the Shrek squad like an avalanche. A halo appeared beneath the feet of the Shrek squad. In an instant, they had vanished into thin air, leaving only the shockwave sweeping past where they had once stood. Almost immediately, Wu Bingji fired two icicles from his hands again, this time at the blue foxes. But just then, a figure swooped down almost instantaneously, unleashing a sharp blade of sword energy that it burst forth like a cold star, heading straight for Wu Bingji. Before the sword even reached him, Wu Bingji felt as though he had already been pierced, his whole body shivering with a sudden chill. The diving figure paused midair, and just then, another figure silently positioned itself in front of Wu Bingji. It was Tang San. Before anyone noticed, Tang San had already summoned a warhammer in his hand, the Sky Shatter. He spun around, swinging the hammer directly at his opponent. There was a crisp sound, and Tang San and Appo's body shook violently. His disorder wind-splitting hammer was interrupted, but the diving figure was also sent flying backward, flipping in the air and stabilizing himself with wings unfurled. The two icicles were flying toward the blue foxes when suddenly, a bizarre scene unfolded. The figures of the two blue foxes turned ethereal and with a fierce leap forward, they merged into two Earth Demon Oxen, causing two blue lights to shine above their heads. The totem poles shook the ground, and under the burst of power, the icicles shattered. Under the fusion with the blue foxes, the bloodthirsty crimson in the eyes of the Earth Demon Oxen was instantly replaced by blue. The madness had faded away, yet their formidable strength remained intact. Witnessing this, the members of the Shrek squad realized that today and Appo's battle would be troublesome. The Great Beast fighting arena had not just chosen a powerful squad to face them, but also learned from the previous errors and picked a more appropriate opponent for the Shrek squad's abilities. The sword in the Sword Demon squad's name referred to the red-crowned crane, while the demon wasn't just the Earth Demon Oxen, but their fusion with the blue foxes. After the Earth Demon Oxen swung down their totem poles with ground-shaking might, their bodies surged with blue light, and their speed increased dramatically as they charged at the Shrek squad with the power of a landslide. With each step forward, their aura grew stronger, and the pressure intensified. In their fused state, the two earth demon oxen clearly possessed strength nearing the ninth order, with no weakness in either physical or spiritual power. Tang San and Appo's brow furrowed. The sword energy of the red-crowned crane was not easily blocked. Having parried one strike, he could distinctly feel the intense penetrative nature of the opponent, and Appo's sword energy as its sharp aura threatened to wreak havoc inside him. He knew that in order to win today, he would need to bring his true skills to the forefront. With an indifferent expression, the red-crowned crane flashed forward again, not trying to circumvent Tang San. In its hands, the dark longsword conjured a myriad of sword lights, heading straight for Tang San. Meanwhile, Wu Bingji, along with Gu Li and Chang Zicheng, faced the two earth demon oxen. The true test of the team battle seemed to have finally arrived with this fight. Wu Bingji and Appo's expression was solemn. Ice formed under his feet, creating a frost path that spread out horizontally. He had used this ability during his first sparring session with Tang San. His control over the ice element was greater while on the frost path, and he could move swiftly. As he practiced condensing ice needles, it wasn't just his ability to create icicles that had improved. His mastery over the ice element had also grown exponentially, enabling him to perform once unimaginable feats. Gu Li did not use his tail hammer to strike the opponents. After all, he was only at the sixth order. No matter how refined his disorder wind-splitting hammer was, it couldn't allow his sixth order physique to clash with someone close to the ninth order. Instead, his eyes shimmered, and a pale yellow halo rose, suddenly accelerating Wu Bingji and Appo's movement. Du Bai quickly ran to the side. The array disc required a cooldown period after each use before it could teleport again. It couldn't be used continuously. He naturally needed to keep his distance as he did not have direct combat abilities. In the sky, Chang Zicheng and Appo's delicate body spun rapidly, like a golden wheel whirling at high speed, as her golden wing wind-splitting slash gathered momentum for a powerful attack. The two earth demon oxen and Wu Bingji were charging straight at each other. Suddenly, the earth demon oxen steps paused, and this pause caused the shockwave in front of them to disperse somewhat. It was the Chrono Croc transformation ability, Time Freeze. At the same time, Wu Bingji quickly sidestepped, a spear of ice already formed in his hand. The ice spear shot out like lightning, tracing a beautiful arc through the air. The earth demon oxen almost immediately regained their ability to move. Bolstered by the blue foxes, their mental defenses were very strong, and Time Freeze could only stop them for a very brief moment. The earth demon ox on the left swung its totem pole at the ice spear. But it was too late. The ice spear had already detonated in midair, the explosion propelling it forward with even greater speed. The light on the totem pole burst forth, scattering the elemental energy once more. But this time, the icicle was not so easily destroyed. Affected by the energy-dispersing property of the totem pole, the light radiating from the icicle dimmed slightly, but in the next instant it still struck the earth demon ox. Suddenly, a blue energy barrier appeared on the earth demon ox's skin. The icicle exploded, and the earth demon ox stiffened, halting in place. However, the icicle only immobilized it and could not pierce through. It was the blue fox shield. Meanwhile, Chang Zicheng, who had been spinning and gathering strength in the air, instantly descended from the sky, charging straight toward the halted earth demon ox. Gu Li and Appo's Time Freeze was activated again, causing the other earth demon ox to pause while he quickly retreated. He was supporting Wu Bingji and Chang Zicheng and needed to maintain a reasonable distance. Wu Bingji had stepped onto the icy path and already shifted back again. With a sweep of his right hand, an ice wall was erected in front of the second earth demon ox. The ice wall exploded instantly, not shattered by the opponent, but deliberately detonated by Wu Bingji for maximum impact. The shockwave before the earth demon ox largely dissipated, and the demon paused once more. Its unstoppable-looking charge had been interrupted. On their side, a full-scale battle of 3 against 4 had broken out, while on the other side, Tang San was engaged in combat with the red-crowned crane. The ability of the longsword in the hands of the red-crowned crane was pure penetration. This sword was not crafted by any master artisan, but transformed from the crane's long beak. In other words, the sword of the red-crowned crane was one with itself, and it was constantly tempered as the crane demon cultivated. Every thrust was incredibly fast, and carried an aura of overwhelming power that seemed to be able to pierce all defenses with a single strike. However, the crane demon did not fare well in its first clash with Tang San. Sky Shatterer and Appo's inherent pulverization ability made it quite uncomfortable. This ability was not quite enough to directly damage its sword, but the vibrations it caused actually disrupted its sword energy and weakened its attack. But the second attack was different. It was incredibly fast, and the sword energy beam swiftly covered Tang San. Clearly, the Red Crown Crane was not going for a direct clash. Rather, it was trying to strike Tang San from a distance. Tang San's silhouette, however, suddenly became elusive as the sword beams neared him. His movements created layers of overlapping images that disoriented the Red Crown Crane. With that, the sword beams pierced nothing but empty space. Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track. Then, Tang San did a pirouette, using the Disorder Wind-splitting hammer to swing the heavy hammer directly at the red-crowned crane. A blue light shimmered on the surface of Sky Shatterer as Tang San unleashed a wind astral that covered the area. Hisses filled the air as the wind astral was pierced by sword energy. The red-crowned crane nimbly dodged, evading Tang San and Appo's Sky Shatterer. At the same time, due to being bolstered by the wind element, Tang San and Appo's Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track was incredibly fast, not allowing the sword energy to get close. Thus, they quickly became entangled in battle. The red-crowned crane was shocked. It wouldn't Appo's have mattered much if it were just the opponent and Appo's speed. But the key was the opponent and Appo's miraculous movement technique, which made it impossible for its sword intent to lock onto him. The red-crowned crane and Appo's prowess lay in its sword. Its sword intent, energy and aura were incredibly strong. It would break any ability of the opponent with its sword. That was the way of its lineage. But an opponent it couldn't and Appo's lock onto, coupled with the extraordinary power of that heavy hammer, made it feel at a loss for how to proceed. It was truly reluctant to clash head-on with Tang San. In the view of the red-crowned crane, Tang San was skilled but weak, and the much greater threat was the opponent using icicles. However, it was now forced to reevaluate the situation. The audience in the stands also noticed the strange situation. Tang San, who had been unremarkable in the earlier group battles, now displayed amazing close combat skills. He was now stubbornly engaging the red-crowned crane, which was known for its own close combat mastery, without seeming to be at a disadvantage. How could this not be astonishing? However, the situation of the others in the Shrek squad was not as good. The Earth Demon oxen, possessed by a blue fox each, were proving to be quite troublesome. The ice did not affect the Earth Demon ox that Chang Zicheng attacked for long. It swung its totem pole with the sheer force of a tornado blasting through the air. Each heavy collision sent Chang Zicheng flying, and although her golden wing wind-splitting slash left marks on the totem pole, the backlash on her was even greater. After 3 consecutive collisions, she had to fly up to get herself together, and her wings trembled. If she used the same attack once more, she could end up unable to fly anymore. After breaking through the ice wall, the other Earth Demon Ox, though affected by Wu Bingji and Appo's various ice-based skills, continued to charge forward steadily. Relying on its formidable defense and terrifying power, it moved toward Guli. Wu Bingji was fast and had control of the ice element, but Guli was not as quick. What was even more terrifying was that the bodies of these 2 Earth Demon oxen kept growing larger amid battle, seemingly under the effect of a progressive enhancement ability. Their strength was becoming increasingly fearsome, and they were inching ever closer to the 9th Order. At such a time, the weakness of the Shrek squad became evident. They lacked someone who could stand against the enemy head-on. Wu Bingji didn't and Appo's have enough time to build up power to show off his full control over the ice element. He had to constantly use various ice walls and shields to slow the enemy and Appo's advance. Guli and Appo's time freeze was powerful, but the gap in cultivation limited his control over the opponent. Chang Zicheng and Appo's golden wing wind-splitting slash was sharp, yet facing the formidable totem pole, she could only use her speed advantage to harass her opponent. She was barely managing to hold back 1 Earth Demon Ox. That was the most her 7th Order cultivation could achieve. The Earth Demon Ox was getting closer to Guli. and the continuous use of time freeze was draining his spiritual power considerably. His mind raced, constantly devising strategies, but he knew all too well that his tail hammer stood no chance against their totem poles. Meanwhile, Dubai, watching from afar, could only fret as he dared not enter the battlefield, with neither the spirit elevation array nor the teleportation array available to use. He had already bestowed his luck enhancement on his companions earlier, and now he could only watch helplessly as they fell into peril. He began to doubt himself. His premonition had clearly indicated that today and Appo's match would be without risk. Yet, the situation was rapidly deteriorating before his eyes. Although Tang San entangled his opponent using the Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track, the opponent and Appo's sword energy was becoming increasingly fierce. Being able to withstand such a ninth-order powerhouse, Tang San had already demonstrated great strength. What more could be asked of him? What should I do? What can I do? Dubai and Appo's heart trembled incessantly. The celestial fox transformation was regarded as a top-tier bloodline, yet with his meager fifth-order cultivation, he found himself utterly powerless now. It was just like when they faced the winged tiger. He could only helplessly watch his companions in distress. Tang San and Appo's situation was indeed becoming increasingly dire. The red-crowned crane and Appo's sword energy beams crisscrossed menacingly. Although it feared his sky shatterer, its pervasive sword energy beams were causing the space he had for his Ghost Shadow Perplexing Track to shrink. Even the fragmented bits of sword energy, if they penetrated his body, could cause harmful effects inside him. The sword energy seemed almost alive and it attacked him relentlessly, each blow lingering in the air for at least 2 seconds. Even worse, the energy beams were multiplying, and Tang San felt as if more and more opponents were besieging him. This red-crowned crane was indeed formidable. The reason it was unwilling to clash directly with him was not that it was afraid, but rather to stall for time, as its squad mates were clearly gaining the upper hand on the other side of the battlefield. Was Tang San really out of options against his opponent? Dubai and Appo's premonition was not wrong. If Tang San went all out, he could naturally win this battle all by himself. However, faced with such a situation, Tang San did not rush to unleash his power. Instead, he hoped his companions would truly forge themselves under this pressure. In the great beast fighting arena, they faced real life or death threats. In the face of death, one can either cower in fear or burst forth with all one's might. Gu Li finally met head-on with the Earth Demon Ox. Despite the hindrance of the ice shield and the effect of time freeze, the totem pole finally arrived. And the moment Gu Li's tail hammer collided with the opponent and Appo's weapon, he was unsurprisingly blasted into the air. The scales on the surface of the tail hammer cracked, clearly dented, and Gu Li was thrown onto the ground. Although his defense was commendable, the impact was simply too severe. Blood spurted from his mouth, a sign of internal injuries. Seeing Gu Li being blasted away, Wu Bingji felt a rush of blood to his head and roared in anger. The aura of the ice element around him surged. His figure flickered and like lightning he charged toward the Earth Demon Ox, aiming his ice spear directly at the opponent's waist. The corner of the Earth Demon Ox in Appo's mouth revealed a cold smirk. It had been waiting for this, as it most enjoyed close combat. The totem pole in its hand smashed toward the ground like lightning, and with a dull thud, the ground cracked open. The terrifying shockwave flung Wu Bingji into the air, and what was more horrifying was the dispersing effect it had, which significantly weakened the ice fog around Wu Bingji and Appo's body. The Earth Demon Ox used the recoil force to bring his totem pole up and swing horizontally, aiming directly for Wu Bingji's midsection. Given Wu Bingji and Appo's lack of defensive capabilities, a hit would almost certainly be fatal. But just then a streak of golden light swiftly dove down and scooped up the soaring Wu Bingji. It was Chang Zicheng. Seeing her companions in danger, she immediately abandoned her own opponent to come to their aid. However, the other Earth Demon Ox had no intention of pursuing her. Instead, it charged directly toward Gu Li, who was lying on the ground in the distance. With the Blue Foxes and Appo's empowerment, the Earth Demon Oxen handled the battle with extreme precision. Any reduction in their opponents and Appo's numbers virtually guaranteed their defeat in such group fights. Guli, who possessed the Chrono-Croc transformation, was particularly troublesome. Thus, they decided to eliminate him first. Held aloft by Chang Zicheng, Wu Bingji quickly regained his composure. His eyes sparkled with a cold light. He knew that their team might collapse without a breakthrough, and he would have to watch as each of his companions fell in battle. A purple-golden light flickered in his eyes, elevating his spiritual power to its peak. "Qingzi, let go of me. Move away." Hearing this, Chang Zicheng released her hold. She could feel that Wu Bingji had changed somehow in that instant. A sudden burst of icy blue light exploded from Wu Bingji. The dazzling icy blue halo instantly blossomed, seeming to drop the temperature of the entire great beast fighting arena at that moment. As the team captain and the eldest brother to all, Wu Bingji had only one mission: to ensure that his junior brothers and sisters would survive and return. His spiritual power burned, and his bloodline power boiled. The ice elemental energy surrounding him churned wildly, and Wu Bingji suddenly floated in midair, supported by this energy. He swung his right hand, and a beam of icy blue light descended from the sky and struck not the opponent but Guli. Instantly, solid ice enveloped the area, forming what looked like an ice coffin around Guli. The next moment, Wu Bingji was sent flying by the earth demon oxen. The ice coffin cracked but remarkably did not shatter, a testament to the ice and Appo's resilience. A blue flame also rose from Wu Bingji in that instant. His bloodline power was ignited. He was fighting desperately now. The burning of his bloodline power would significantly increase his strength temporarily. On the other hand, he would suffer severe aftereffects, and if the burning lasted too long, his bloodline power might even dry up and cause him to die. But at that moment, he could no longer concern himself with the consequences. All he thought about was defeating his opponents. Burning one and Appo's bloodline power was not something just anyone could achieve. Only those with powerful bloodlines had the foundation, and they also needed sufficiently strong spiritual power to stimulate the bloodline power to that extent. Faced with a life-or-death crisis, as he saw his companions about to be slain by the enemy, Wu Bingji finally resorted to this ability. An ice spear suddenly formed in his hand, as clear and bright as a piece of blue crystal. His burning bloodline power crazily surged into the spear. When the ice spear appeared, the two earth demon oxen on the ground looked up at him almost simultaneously. Even the red-crowned crane, who was busy dealing with Tang San, momentarily paused its attacks as it felt a strong sense of danger emanating from above. The burning icy blue flames looked ever so magnificent in the air. It was a display of determination and even more so, of true do-or-die resolution. Wu Bingji was powering the ice spear in his hand with his own life. Chang Zicheng, who was closest to him, could feel the life force rapidly draining from Wu Bingji. Ever since she first met Wu Bingji, she had been deeply attracted to him. He always smiled gently and cared for every one of his junior brothers and sisters. He helped them with their problems and guided them in cultivation. He was in every way a true big brother to all the students and was admired by everyone for his strength and willingness to help. Everyone liked him. The naive girl didn't Appo's know the exact moment that her heart had silently pledged itself to him, but as she grew older her affection deepened. She once heard teacher Mu Yunyu say that fondness was like a gentle love, and love was like a deep fondness. She wasn't Appo's sure if her fondness was deep enough, but she always knew that being with him made her especially happy. Now as she felt Wu Bingji and Appo's life force draining away and sensed the impending aura of death in the great beast fighting arena, the love in her heart seemed to explode, igniting her soul. On the ground, blue light flickered in the eyes of two earth demon oxen, clearly a sign of the blue foxes enhancing their intelligence. They instantly sensed the immense threat that Wu Bingji posed right now. They suddenly ran toward each other, one earth demon ox hoisting its totem pole horizontally, while the other leaped and landed on it. With all its might, the earth demon ox on the ground flung the immense body of the other upward, hurling it straight at Wu Bingji, who was about 10 meters above the ground. At the same time, the one being flung used a stomping ability to launch itself upward at top speed. The totem pole in its hand blazed with light, ready to unleash its power. Its aim was simple: interrupting Wu Bingji and Appo's attack and knocking him down from the sky. Just then, a scream erupted, and immediately after, The entire great beast fighting arena lit up as if a small sun had suddenly appeared in the sky. The blinding golden light forced all the spectators to focus on it. The golden stream of light, spinning like a tornado of falling meteors, collided instantly with the soaring earth demon ox. Amid a fierce roar, the totem pole in the earth demon ox and Appo's hand was brutally slashed in half, and its sturdy chest burst with blood as its massive body plummeted to the ground. The golden figure was also flung away, crashing into the distance. Just then, a bright azure light descended from the sky, chasing after the falling earth demon ox and vanishing in a flash, as if piercing through heaven and earth. Novel Lunar logo. Novel Lunar. Home. Browse. Genres. Search novels. Login. Novel Lunar logo. Novel Lunar. Home. Latest updates. New novels. Completed. Ranking. Genres. Login. Soul Land 5. The Rebirth of Tang San. Chapter 314. Chapter 314. October 30th, 2025. Previous. 314. 1101. Next. Novel AI Studio explore our top 10,000 plus free novels. The mighty body of the earth demon ox momentarily froze in the sky, a bizarre scene unfolding around it. Attached to it was a male blue fox, who seemed to be trying to separate from the earth demon ox. But no sooner had it begun to detach than both their bodies turned into blue ice sculptures, plummeting from the sky and crashing fiercely onto the ground. The blue flames around on Wu Bingji flickered out almost completely as he too fell from the sky, having exerted all his strength in that strike. From a distance, Chang Ziqing abruptly paused in midair before finally landing. The brief halt in time saved her from further injury from the fall, but her golden wings had vanished, and her arms hung limply at her sides, indicating she was utterly drained of the strength to fight. Her face was pale and blood trickled from her eyes, ears, nose, and mouth. The eyes of the other earth demon ox, which had initially been blue, instantly turned red. It acutely sensed the disappearance of its companion and Appo's aura, and naturally, the blue fox inside it also felt the presence of its kin vanishing. Wu Bingji and Appo's spear had instantly annihilated the duo. Sword Demon Squad 2 down. The earth demon ox strode forward with its thick legs, madly charging toward the soon-to-land Wu Bingji. But a swiftly spinning figure emitting a piercing screech suddenly blocked its path. The figure spinning at high speed was radiating intense bloodline fluctuations, and it seemed as if everything around him was distorting. The earth demon ox raised its totem pole horizontally, ignoring its opponent, and continued to charge forward. Freeze! A voice bellowed angrily. The earth demon ox charging forward suddenly came to an absolute halt. The rapidly spinning figure had already charged up. The next instant, it was as if the distorted light around him shattered to pieces. The tail hammer, having spun countless times, smashed fiercely onto the hefty earth demon ox, whipping it into the air and toward the ice sculptures on the ground. The ice sculptures suddenly exploded just as the earth demon ox plummeted toward them. The violent blast made the entire great beast fighting arena quake. The earth demon ox was blasted dozens of meters away by the blow. It crashed hard onto the ground, and a blue figure was flung out from its body. The rapidly spinning figure also fell to the ground. Gu Li's face was pale as he fell into unconsciousness. He had nearly blown apart his own sea of consciousness in the effort to freeze time and set up Wu Bingji and Appo's final ice burst. Wu Bingji too had collapsed to the ground. Though he had burned his bloodline power, he had not completely exhausted it. However, he looked as if he had aged a decade, and he lacked even the strength to stand. A light flickered, and Dubai teleported to their side, quickly activating the spirit elevation array to replenish their depleted energy. No one had expected the battle to turn out this way. The previously overwhelmed Shrek squad had suddenly unleashed their power, managing to kill an earth demon ox and a blue fox and severely injuring another pair. However, this all-out effort had left 3 of them powerless and injured to varying degrees. A piercing cry came from afar as the sword energy swirling around Tang San erupted violently. The red-crowned crane was unable to hold back any longer after witnessing its teammates and Appo's deaths. Its dark longsword struck like lightning toward Tang San, letting out a flurry of energy beams. Not only that, but all the energy in the air seemed to converge on the sword instantly, significantly enhancing its dark glow and carrying unstoppable sword energy straight toward Tang San and Appo's chest. The constricting cage of sword energy made it nearly impossible for Tang San to dodge. The powerful sword energy seemed like it was going to pierce right through him. The spinning form of Tang San grew stiff under the influence of the sword energy, rendering him unable to execute the disorder wind-splitting hammer any longer. The refined swordsmanship of the red-crowned crane actually countered the disorder wind-splitting hammer to some extent. The power-oriented hammer technique was at a disadvantage against the penetrating sword aura. As the sword thrust toward him, it seemed that Tang San couldn't pull Sky Shatterer back in time to block. The black longsword was about to pierce him. "No, little Tang, no," Dubai yelled out. His eyes swirled with white light, his emotions instantly turning frantic. From his eyes shot a violet gold light, the power of the purple demon eyes. However, the mental shock of the purple demon eyes had a limited range of effect, diminishing with distance. At that moment, Dubai had just teleported next to Wu Bingji and Gu Li, far from Tang San's battlefield. A full burst of spiritual power only caused the red-crowned crane to stiffen for a moment, but the long sword in its hand still reached right in front of Tang San. In that instant, whether it was Dubai Wu Bingji or the faltering Chang Zicheng, their eyes widened and their pupils shrank. Was Tang San going to die? Only they knew that Tang San was the true heart of their group. Without Tang San, they wouldn't oppose to even have the courage to stand here, let alone the strength. If Tang San were to fall, then today they were almost certainly doomed. Although they also fought fiercely and did their share, Tang San had just advanced to the 8th order of cultivation, yet he was single-handedly holding back a 9th order red-crowned crane. He was the most crucial part of the team. Just as all the spectators thought this brutal team battle was about to end, time seemed to slow down. A strong white hand unexpectedly appeared in front of the dark longsword, seizing the blade. The determined, unstoppable aura of the hand paused midair, its motion and stillness strikingly abrupt. Yet, the white hand was so steady, as if cast from bronze and iron, preventing the longsword from advancing even an inch further. How is that possible? That was everyone in Appo's first thought. But the face of the red-crowned crane revealed a cruel smile. All the sword energy previously absorbed and stored in the dark longsword exploded in that instant, crazily surging into Tang San and Appo's body. The red-crowned crane was confident that even a god-level fighter would be severely injured if struck by so much of its sword energy, let alone this opponent who was not even at the 9th order. However, it was suddenly astonished to see that the other party was also smiling. Yes, there was a mocking smile on Tang San's face. Then it was horrified to discover that all the sword energy it had released had vanished as if sinking into the ocean. After entering Tang San's body, it had simply disappeared. Its first reaction was to withdraw its longsword, but at such a moment, who would allow it to do that? A massive hammer fell from the sky, whistling through the air with ferocious momentum. "No way!" The red-crowned crane shrieked. It wanted to just let go of its sword and retreat, but at that moment, a strong suction force suddenly came from its sword. It felt the bloodline power within its body suddenly drain, as if it were being absorbed by the sword, and it was unable to break free immediately. Sky Shatterer was made of metal, and the head of the red-crowned crane was, after all, made of flesh. What happens when a chunk of metal meets a chunk of flesh? Thus, the Shrek Squad added another ghost to their roster of headshots. Novel Lunar logo. Novel Lunar. Home. Browse. Genres. Search novels. Login. Novel Lunar logo. Novel Lunar. Home. Latest updates. New novels. Completed. Ranking. Genres. Login. / Soulland 5. The Rebirth of Tang San. / Chapter 315. Chapter 315. October 30th, 2025. Previous. 315. / 1101. Next. Novel AI Studio explore our top 10,000 plus free novels. The head of the red-crowned crane exploded like a smashed watermelon, yet not a speck of blood touched Tang San, as wind astral burst forth from him. He now firmly grasped the dark longsword that had fallen into his hands. In that instant the arena fell silent. Even the earth demon ox and the female blue fox, who had just managed to stagger to their feet, were struck dumb. A counter-kill? He actually pulled off a counter-kill? How did he manage that? How is this possible? This was the collective thought of pretty much all the spectators. Even Dubai, who had just exhausted himself using the purple demon eyes, was gaping. Wu Bingji blinked in shock, and Cheng Ziqing collapsed to the ground, gasping for breath. The counterkill looked simple. Tang San's only actions were to grab the incoming sword with one hand, and then smash the opponent's head with his hammer. The fight was over just like that. But was it really that simple? The hand that grasped the sword was reinforced by the mysterious jade hands, and the peacock demon bloodline's teleportation power dissolved the sword energy that tried to penetrate his body. Under the exquisite control of Tang San's spiritual power, the overwhelming sword energy was teleported outside his body, rendered harmless. The formidable force carried by that sword was neutralized by the seventh bloodline imprint within him, the one he had gotten from the ninth order elephant demon. This was followed by the mysterious heaven technique, which prevented the enemy from leaving and absorbed its energy. Finally, one strike from that monstrously heavy hammer had put an end to the matter. In that brief moment, Tang San employed a multitude of abilities to achieve that instantaneous counterkill. What seemed like a simple act was actually a combination of his true capabilities. He had to not only kill his opponent but also do so in a way that all the spectators could not comprehend. The red-crowned crane with a quasi-first-tier bloodline thus fell then and there. Even its bloodline power was absorbed by Tang San and preserved within him. Tang San lifted his head and looked at the earth demon ox and the female blue fox who had just risen. He slowly began walking toward them. Tang San was very satisfied with the outcome of today and Appo's group battle. At the brink of life and death, his allies had unleashed their full potential. This was the true trial and the real improvement. It was the best motivation for them to keep moving forward. And he himself was the guarantor of the whole team and Appo's safety. Had his friends faced a life-or-death crisis, he would have erupted earlier. The worst-case scenario would be revealing his ability to teleport. But with the array disc in place, it was unlikely that his bloodline abilities would be suspected. Of course, it would be best if such situations did not occur, as that was not what Tang San wished to see. His companions did not disappoint him, whether it was Cheng Ziqing and Appo's Golden Wing Wind Splitting Slash, Wu Bingji and Appo's Ice Spear, or Gu Li and Appo's Time Freeze. They had all unleashed the strongest abilities of their bloodlines. With lesser cultivation, they had overcome stronger foes and defeated an Earth Demon Ox. Although the other Earth Demon Ox and Blue Fox were still alive, they too were severely wounded. It was time to wrap things up. With the fusion ended and facing the immense pressure of Tang San, the now less sharp-witted Earth Demon Ox charged at Tang San, brandishing a totem pole. As he advanced, Tang San flipped the dark longsword in his hand, grasping the hilt. Hammer in one hand, sword in the other, he met his opponent head-on. The Blue Fox shouted something urgently, but the Earth Demon Ox didn't and Appo's hear her. The totem pole was already hurtling toward Tang San. Sky Shatterer was at the ready. It was a clash of the titans. Tang San needed to justify his ability to have slain the red-crowned crane to the audience. And that justification was simple. Unparalleled power. After a thunderous boom, Tang San took half a step back, while the Earth Demon Ox staggered back 7 or 8 steps, collapsing onto the ground. The power of an elephant demon was superior to that of an Earth Demon Ox to begin with. Now that the bovine demon was injured and its back was shredded open by the ice explosion earlier, it was at the end of its tether. One end of the totem pole in its hand shattered. Though the pole was thick, it lacked the resilience of the dark sword, and it was unable to withstand the pulverizing force of the hammer. Tang San swiftly swung Sky Shatterer, and at the same time, a wind blade flew toward the Blue Fox in the distance. "No, you cannot, Appo's kill me," the female Blue Fox demon screamed. But the wind blade instantly silenced her cries. Sky Shatterer directly smashed the head of the Earth Demon Ox. Along with the red-crowned crane, that made it a triple kill for Tang San. At that moment, in the small section of humans on the stands, a thunderous cheer erupted. The human vassals were almost hysterical, shouting and venting their excitement. They had won. The Shrek squad had once again defeated a formidable foe, and they had won again. Humanity had triumphed, defeating the demons. The human team, the Shrek Headshot Squad, was victorious. The various demons in the audience had mixed expressions. Some cursed the Shrek Squad, others admired their abilities. Astute observers were not surprised by the match in Appo's outcome. The end had been foreseeable once Tang San had defeated the red-crowned crane. It was clear to all that in this battle, whichever side claimed the first kill would determine the outcome. The Earth Demon Ox and the Blue Fox, facing the 4 members of the Shrek Squad, had ended up both significantly wounded. Even so, considering that the remaining Earth Demon Ox could still fight, they still seemed to have a slight upper hand. Regrettably, the red-crowned crane on the other side had suddenly fallen, defeated in a flash by what appeared to be a mere burst of Tang San's sheer power, thus ending the battle. The Shrek Squad undoubtedly paid a greater price this time than previous battles. At the same time, Tang San, who had previously kept a low profile, emerged in the public eye. Wu Bingji was severely restrained, but fortunately, Tang San intervened against the Sword Saint's descendant, the red-crowned crane, enabling the Shrek Squad to triumph ultimately. Tang San came over to his friends, picked up Gu Li, and had Dubai help Wu Bingji up. Together they approached Chang Zicheng. Chang Zicheng struggled to her feet. When she saw the noticeably aged Wu Bingji, her eyes reddened. Eldest brother. Wu Bingji gave a faint smile, weakly saying, "I and Appos. Am alright." Tang San nodded. "You'll be fine. Let and Appos go." At this moment, the spectator stands had become utterly chaotic. Only the cheers of the human vassals continued unabated. The next instant, it seemed the audience outside the arena had also learned the outcome. Cheers for humanity suddenly resounded around the entire great beast fighting arena. Today, humanity won, defeating a formidable foe. The Shrek Squad triumphed once again. The battle was tough, but the outcome was a victory for humanity. An unprecedented sense of relief appeared almost simultaneously in the hearts of every human vassal who received the news. This was the first time in their lives they felt such exhilaration. The first time their hearts were so filled with joy. They truly seemed to see the dawn of hope. Humanity won. It was proof that humans could defeat the demons. Both of Chang Zicheng and Appo's arms were fractured. Her left forearm broke into 3 pieces, and her right upper arm into 2. This was the result of their full-force effort. Gu Li was comatose from the mental exhaustion, and had also sustained significant concussive injuries. Wu Bingji and Appo's condition was the most severe, with a serious depletion of his life force. The burning of his bloodline power was so intense that it had damaged his very essence. Dubai and Appo's eyes were red. Although they had won the battle, he felt horrible at this moment. He wasn't Appo's injured, but during this battle of life and death, he felt as though he had done nothing. All he could do was watch helplessly as his companions risked their lives fighting tooth and nail with a powerful enemy. They didn't Appo's linger in the great beast fighting arena, not even stopping to collect their prize money. After changing their clothes, Tang San quickly led his friends away from the arena. Chang Zicheng and Gu Li could wait a bit, but Wu Bingji and Appo's condition could not afford any delay. They needed to restore his health as soon as possible. Otherwise, there would be lasting consequences. The 5 of them walked out of the great beast fighting arena. Dubai supported Wu Bingji, while Tang San carried Gu Li on his back. Chang Zicheng could walk on her own, though her arms were in bandages and splints. As they left the arena, they were met with earth-shattering cheers. An unknown number of human vassals gathered around the arena, their cheers rising in waves. Shrek, Shrek, Shrek. Listening to the thunderous shouts, the Shrek Squad looked around and saw face after face flushed with excitement. Color slowly returned to Wu Bingji and Appo's pale face, and even the intense feeling of weakness seemed to diminish slightly. Dubai and Appo's face flushed as red as the faces of the cheering crowd, his fists clenched in excitement. Chang Zicheng initially looked bewildered, but her eyes slowly moistened, and her delicate body started to tremble slightly. They had truly won. Not only that, but in the hearts of the humans around them, it was humanity itself that had triumphed. This was the highest consecutive victory count in human history for team battles. On this very night within Kali City, a flame in the hearts of humanity was ignited by the Shrek Squad. Wu Bingji took a deep breath. Despite his poor physical condition at that moment, he felt an unprecedented sense of happiness and pride. Tang San smiled as he listened to the cheers. He genuinely smiled. This was what he wanted to see. It was unity, the unity of humanity. When a group truly wants to rise, what matters most isn't and oppose ability or strength but unity. Only when all hearts feel as one can there be a real possibility of rising. In this world humanity was frail, yet he believed that as long as humans could unite one day, no oppression in the world could stop their rise. That night, countless human vassals were laughing and crying. With practiced ease, the group slipped into the Kali Mountains. Tang San used his divine consciousness and the discerning eye of heaven to shield their auras. He handed Gu Li over to Dubai, while he himself carried Wu Bingji on his back and led the way back to Golden Valley. He had allowed Wu Bingji to burn his own bloodline power because they had the vast life energy of Golden Valley as a backup. Under the nourishment of that life energy, the life force Wu Bingji had consumed could be restored. "Eldest brother, do you feel it?" Tang San asked, carrying Wu Bingji and moving swiftly through the mountains. Wu Bingji nodded. Tang San smiled and said, "Maybe we are the hope for humanity and Appo's future. When our kind truly sees the first light of hope, we will unite like never before. In the future there will be no more slaves, no more vassals." "Little Tang, thank you. Your arrival changed everything," Wu Bingji said softly. "I will suggest to our teacher that you take over my position as eldest brother. If possible, come to the academy and guide the younger students. With your leadership, our academy will rise faster, and humanity will see hope sooner." Wu Bingji was well aware that without Tang San and Appo's guidance he would not have achieved what he had today. He had long admitted in his heart that what Tang San taught him and his companions was even better than the education from the academy's teachers. Even the god-level instructors Si Rukuden and Appo's compare with Tang San in this respect. Tang San smiled and said, "Eldest brother, you can and Appo's shirk your responsibilities." Wu Bingji gave a bitter smile and said, "Of course I won and Appo's it and Appo's just that after this I don and Appo's know how much my cultivation will drop. You and Appo's overthinking it. With the golden tree the life force you lost can be replenished. Moreover, burning bloodline power isn't necessarily all bad. In the short term your cultivation will indeed decrease, but the burning process itself is also a form of tempering. Our demonic god transformation comes from demon heritage, so impurities are inevitable. What you burned today were mostly these impurities. The real essence is what remains. As they say, you have to break it down to build it back up. When you manage to regain the cultivation you've lost, you'll see yourself become a lot stronger. It's a way of purifying your bloodline by using its own power." Wu Bingji was stunned. "Are you serious?" Tang San chuckled. "What else?" Wu Bingji smiled bitterly. "Honestly, I'm finding it harder and harder to read you. Were you holding back today? I didn't quite catch how you defeated that red-crowned crane. I thought we were done for." Tang San didn't answer his question directly, but said, "No matter how powerful an individual is, they can and Appo's decide everything. The strength of a team is what truly matters. Like our Redemption Society compared to all of humanity, just the efforts of the Redemption Society aren't enough to change the human condition. Only when all humanity unites with one heart and mind can we break free from our fate." Wu Bingji said, "The mayor trusts you so much and you and Appo's have always been helping everyone. I have no reason not to trust you. Actually, many times when I and Appo's am with you I feel like it and Appo's not me who should be your senior brother, but rather you should be mine." Tang San smiled. "That can and Appo's be you and Appo's the eldest brother after all." Wu Bingji suddenly said, "Right, since I and Appo's am not seriously hurt, why didn't we wait to collect our prize money before leaving? Think about it, our reward today must be substantial. Just the basic rewards alone would add up to several Naturi coins each, and that and Appo's quite a lot of Naturi coins. Not to mention the share from the betting." Tang San's lips twitched as the eldest brother and Appo's love for money resurfaced. He had been lamenting his lack of a future, but as soon as he heard he was fine, he immediately focused on what was most important to him. It and Appo's too late for that. The great beast fighting arena needs time to process the earnings. They can't give us our cut so quickly. Although your condition ISN and Oppos. T too bad it and Oppos. S still important to stabilize your life force first. Otherwise, I wouldn't have taken you away first. Don and Oppos. T worry we won't be shortchanged. The great beast fighting arena counts on us to be their cash cow. After today in Oppos' battle, we can probably negotiate the price the next time we fight since our popularity has increased. Right. Once I'm better, let's go get our money. This money comes so fast it in Oppos' a bit overwhelming. But Tang San, today's battle really was a wake-up call for me. The demons are still much stronger than us. If there were 1 or 2 more at the 9th order among our 5 opponents, we would have been in big trouble. Are we continuing with the 10-team battles? Tang San replied, no rush. Everyone should have gained some insights this time. Let's first stabilize our cultivation and see how things stand. For the next match, we'll make the Great Beast Fighting Arena tell us in advance about our opponents before we decide. The toughest moments have passed. We probably won't have real problems until the final matches, because that wouldn't be in the arena's best interest. Wu Bingji was somewhat confused by his words but grasped a bit of the meaning. Tang San quickly took him back to the Golden Valley and settled him next to the Golden Tree to absorb life energy and replenish his spent life force. Wu Bingji didn't and Oppos' rushed to resume cultivation but focused solely on recovery. Then, along with Zhang Haoshuan, Tang San left again to meet the other 3 members. The Golden Valley remained tranquil and brimming with life. For the time being, Tang San wasn't concerned about how much their battle had affected Kali City. He needed to stay with his companions, hoping that this opportunity to push their potential would lead to breakthroughs. After hearing Tang San and Oppos' account of the team battle and the human populace and Oppos' reaction, Zhang Haoshuan could no longer stay in the Golden Valley to continue his cultivation and hurried back to Academy Town. There were too many matters that needed his attention. Of course, human unity was good, but being overtly unified and too prominent could easily lead to suppression from the demons, even in the absence of the Peacock Great Demon King. The Redemption Society could not allow such a scenario to unfold. He needed to return to oversee the whole situation and quickly implement some measures. The 4th match in the Great Beast Fighting Arena proved immensely challenging for the Shrek squad, excluding Tang San. Whether it was the outburst of power or the mental stress, all were significantly impacted. Tang San could feel that his 4 teammates had noticeably matured and transformed after this battle, not just in strength, but also in mindset. Only in the face of life and death does one's potential truly emerge. Wu Bingji and the others hadn't an Oppos' realized it yet, but their mental maturity had already surpassed their peers and was still rapidly developing. Even Dubai, previously known for his impulsiveness, had gained a measure of stability. Guli slept for a day, then woke up and immediately began to meditate. He quickly entered a state of deep meditation, clearly having gained some insights for his cultivation. Dubai also began his own meditation and did not emerge for 3 days. Tang San could subtly sense some changes in him. Tang San cultivated daily by his side, silently using his own aura to influence Dubai, protecting him as he meditated. He understood Dubai and Oppos' determination. This time he wouldn't stop until he advanced to the 6th order. With the life energy of the Golden Tree, there was no need to worry about hunger. Wu Bingji and Oppos' cultivation ultimately regressed. After replenishing his life energy, his vitality and appearance returned to their original states, but his cultivation had fallen from the upper 8th order to the 7th, a drop of more than an entire order. That was the price of burning his bloodline. However, it was as Tang San had predicted. Although his cultivation had dropped, Wu Bingji was surprised to find that he seemed much more refined as a whole. His sensitivity and control over the ice element had changed, and everything seemed clearer. So he was not in a hurry. Nourished by the abundant life energy here, he could rebuild his cultivation. With his previous experience, returning to the 8th order was just a matter of time. Chang Zicheng was the fastest to see results. She soon reached the upper 7th order, and she was not far from the peak. In addition, during her explosive performance in the arena, she had also developed a new battle technique, the one she had used to sever the totem pole. It was now aptly named the Golden Wing Meteor Slash. This was a combination of the Golden Wing Wind Splitting Slash and her own speed, A full-force strike launched in an almost sacrificial manner. The primary issue with the Golden Wing Meteor Slash was its tendency to recoil and injure Chang Zicheng, so Tang San advised her to temper her physique diligently. The higher the speed, the greater the attack power, but the more toughness required. If the user couldn't oppose withstand it, then even the strongest attack was meaningless, as harming the enemy meant harming oneself. Chang Zicheng deeply understood this. As she recovered from her fractures, she simultaneously tempered her body with the power of her bloodline. Tang San also had his gains this time, primarily the Black Sword. It was formed from the long beak of a 9th-order red-crowned crane. The sword was thin and over a meter long, with the hilt making up 20 centimeters of that length. Though it was not made of metal, the slender blade was extremely sharp and durable, as it had been tempered by the red-crowned crane from the moment of its birth all the way until it reached the 9th order. Most notably, when bloodline power was infused into it, it naturally transformed into sharp sword energy. Tang San was not a swordsman, but that didn't oppose. Mean he didn't oppose. Understand swordsmanship. In terms of sheer power, this weapon far surpassed Sky Shatter. Of course, that was because the potential of Sky Shatterer had yet to be realized. While guarding his companions as they cultivated, Tang San also played with the Black Sword, recalling his studies in the divine realm and working on a sword technique. As his divine consciousness gradually recovered, memories of his past life became clearer. The peak 9th order spiritual power continuously nourished his consciousness, making his actual power far exceed the 8th order that he appeared to possess. Why did the 9th order red-crowned crane have no chance to retaliate against him? That was because Tang San himself possessed 2 first-tier bloodlines, along with several other high-tier ones, plus the vision and experience of a god king. How could a random red-crowned crane compare to that? It was just that Tang San wouldn't oppose, easily go all out. Zhang Haoshuan returned to the Golden Valley after being away for half a month, bringing news from the outside. After their previous battle, the Shrek squad had become famous, quickly achieving idol status among the human vassals. The Great Beast fighting arena had made a fortune from that battle. However, the officials did not intend to suppress humans because of this. The reason was simple. To the officials, such a battle was trivial. They just thought it was foolish humans entertaining themselves. Compared to the demons, humans were still too weak. No storm was stirred up, which was the best scenario, meaning the Shrek squad and Appo's future fights could continue without significant interference. And Zhang Haoshuan discovered a pleasant surprise. Guli had made a breakthrough, successfully entering the 7th order. The 7th order of Chrono Croc transformation. The 7th order was a transformative stage. Guli, now at the 7th order, had gained a 3rd time-related ability, just as Tang San had hoped. Apart from time freeze and time acceleration, he could now use time reversal. Additionally, during his transformation, his physical strength increased significantly, and his tail hammer nearly doubled in size. With that, his overall power increased dramatically. Following the evolution path of the Chrono Croc, if he could reach the god level in the future, his tail hammer could even be refined into a real hammer. Tang San, who had always been by his side and was influenced by Guli and Appo's bloodline aura, naturally advanced to the 7th order in his own Chrono Croc transformation as well. The only concern for Zhang Haoshuan was that Dubai was still in seclusion. A full half-month had passed, and he had not yet finished his meditation. The Shrek squad and Appo's overall strength had significantly improved. After this period of recuperation, Wu Bingji and Appo's cultivation was at the peak of the 7th order. Chang Zicheng was also approaching the peak of the 7th order. Guli had just entered the 7th order. Dubai was meditating to prepare for a breakthrough, and of course Tang San, now the foremost in cultivation, had reached the 8th order. Indeed, though it was accidental, Tang San had become the member of the team with the highest cultivation. Tang San, have you thought about when you and Appo's head to the ancestral court? Zhang Haoshuan asked Tang San with a smile. Ever since his breakthrough to the god level, he had been in a great mood. Additionally, the Shrek squad and Appo's 4 victories in team battles had noticeably increased the cohesion among the human vassals in Kali City, and everything was progressing in a positive direction. At the very least, the Redemption Society had not achieved such results in other main cities. The news from Kali City had already been relayed back to the Redemption Society's headquarters. The headquarters no longer urged him to return for debriefing, as Zhang Haoshuan had the best reason. He had to stabilize the situation in Cali City. The organization knew that this Shrek squad belonged to the Redemption Academy, and naturally, everyone praised them. Zhang Haoshuan took the opportunity to report to the headquarters, claiming that the profits from selling array discs were used to purchase materials for training the students, and that was what had led to such achievements. They continued to make and sell array discs. Of course, they only sold spirit summoning array discs. Teleportation array discs could not be sold casually, and Zhang Haoshuan would not do that. I originally planned to go as soon as possible, said Tang San. But now it seems the team battles in the Great Beast Fighting Arena are more challenging than I expected. They also benefit everyone in Appos. S growth, so I don't in Appos. T feel in a hurry anymore. After each battle we can train together to improve and then go when we and Appos V made progress. It might take longer, but the benefits will be greater. Save some money and we'll go after completing 10 matches. Okay. Zhang Haoshuan nodded, then rubbed his hands together nervously and said, about the array disc thing. When will you teach me how to make the teleportation array disc? That's a really useful thing. Tang San smiled and said, I was just about to talk to you about this. There and Appos. No rush for the teleportation array disc. We have another matter that I think we can start preparing for. What is it? Zhang Haoshuan asked curiously. Tang San said, now that you've also reached godhood like Teacher Siru, we can try something. Because of our participation in team battles, the likelihood of our academy being exposed will increase. For safety, I think we should set up a teleportation array so that in the event of a crisis, we can teleport everyone from the Redemption Academy to Golden Valley. It would be a contingency plan. Zhang Haoshuan stared at him in shock. Wait, what did you say? A teleportation array? A long-distance teleportation array? Tang San nodded. Well, to be precise, it should be considered mid-range. It's not really long distance. Zhang Haoshuan swallowed hard and asked in an urgent tone, can it really be done? The vitality here grew richer by the day, and the golden tree thrived. Cultivating here was incredibly efficient. Without the golden tree, he had no idea how long it would have taken him to break through to godhood. If they could have a teleportation array connecting to the Redemption Academy, it would solve a significant problem, addressing all their worries. Tang San nodded and said, it should be possible. You can think of this teleportation array as a large teleportation array disk. However, it will require a lot of resources and some experiments. No problem. As long as we have the resources, we and Appos LL spend whatever it takes. Zhang Haoshuan fully understood what such a teleportation array would mean. The chained arrays in Golden Valley worked perfectly. Even as a god-level being, when he tried to enter without an array disc, it felt like entering a labyrinth. After a few twists and turns, he ended up on the other side, unable to find the valley even though he knew it was there. If they could have a teleportation array to bring the entire academy staff and students here at any time, it would be a perfect contingency measure for the Redemption Academy. Tang San smiled and said, all right, I and Appos. I'll give you a list later. Once we get this teleportation array set up, you and Appos LL probably understand how to make the teleportation array discs. Don't wait, write down everything now. I and Appos LL start preparing immediately. The sooner, the better. Zhang Haoshuan's face was full of urgency and anticipation. He was no longer concerned with where Tang San got all these magical arrays. This idea was too much for his head to handle. Anyway, everything Tang San did was for the sake of humanity. He had already adopted a see-no-evil stance and even began treating Tang San as an equal rather than as his disciple. When Tang San helped him break through to godhood in the ocean, he already understood that Tang San had more secrets than he had imagined. But there was one thing he was certain of. Tang San was human, and his heart was on the side of humanity. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done so many things. A faint smile appeared on Tang San and Appos' face. Without delay, he quickly wrote a long list detailing all the required items for Zhang Haoshuan. The mayor left immediately, eager to start on the teleportation array. After Zhang Haoshuan left, Tang San and Appos' smile faded. After years of effort, he finally stabilized in this world. His foundation would be secure once the teleportation array was set up, giving the Redemption Academy a retreat. Since they'd only ever used the teleportation array to reach Golden Valley, even if students were captured and interrogated in the future, they wooed and oppose. T know the exact location. Once this was completed, he could go to the ancestral court with peace of mind. The only thing out of his control now was how long Mei Gongzi and Appo's seclusion would last. It had been over a year since Mei Gongzi started her seclusion. He constantly missed her, yet he couldn't and Appo's find her. Now, he could only hope she would finish her seclusion soon. As Tang San was lost in thoughts of her, he suddenly sensed something and turned his gaze toward the golden tree. At that moment a faint white halo rose gently, and Tang San and Appo's eyes filled with surprise. Silver light shimmered around him, and in the next instant, he was beside Dubai. White light emanated from Dubai, swirling and gradually condensing into the form of a two-tailed celestial fox. The celestial fox made of light became more solid, with faint blue halos emanating from its eyes. A strange sensation lingered in Tang San and Appo's heart, and Golden Valley seemed to have gained something extra. This was a sign of the gathering of fortune. Dubai was about to break through. The intense external stimuli combined with the life energy of the golden tree finally helped Dubai reach sufficient bloodline power. As his bloodline power surged, a pained expression gradually appeared on Dubai and Appo's face. His spiritual power began to fluctuate violently, and he was clearly being affected by the power of fortune. Fortunately, he had cultivated the purple demon eyes, raising his spiritual power to the 9th order. Otherwise, the most dangerous moment in the evolution of the Celestial Fox transformation would be the breakthrough itself. When Celestial Fox clan members broke through, they always had much stronger elders guarding them. Naturally, Tang San fulfilled that role for Dubai and Appo's guard. However, he did not rush to help the young man. It was best for Dubai to complete the breakthrough by relying on his own strength. He would interfere as little as possible, not even aiding in enhancing his fortune. With the vast life energy of the golden tree as a safeguard, if he still couldn't and Appo's break through on his own, then breaking through to the 7th order later would be a massive challenge. Dubai began to tremble slightly as the light above his head solidified. Fortune and Appo's power violently impacted his spiritual power, and his bloodline was boiling. The power of fortune was like steam generated by the boiling bloodline, surging upward uncontrollably. Focus inward, let it sway. Tang San and Appo's deep voice sounded in Dubai and Appo's ear. Hearing his voice, Dubai immediately settled down. Subconsciously, he believed that with Tang San by his side, everything would be fine. His emotions calmed down at once. Seeing this, Tang San was a little taken aback. His understanding of the Celestial Fox transformation wasn't and Appo's particularly deep, since it was a power unlike anything else he'd seen before. However, Dubai and Appo's stability was certainly a good sign. Above Dubai and Appo's head behind the Celestial Fox, a third tail gradually appeared, as if an illusion was slowly materializing. The surrounding power of fortune visibly began to increase. The Celestial Fox transformation differed from other demonic god transformations. Each order was a qualitative leap. Although it wasn't an Appo's clear yet what abilities the 6th order Celestial Fox transformation would bring, it was certain that after advancing to the 6th order, Dubai and Appo's strength would increase significantly. His control over fortune would be greatly enhanced. Of course, his improvement meant a corresponding improvement for Tang San as well. White light surged continuously, and the fluctuations of fortune within the Golden Valley became increasingly intense. Even the golden tree seemed affected by the changes in the power of fortune emanating from him. Its bark radiated a bright golden aura, and a gentle life energy wrapped around Dubai. Whenever his body needed it, it would flow into him effortlessly. Every creature desired fortune, and the golden tree was no exception. This was also the strength of the Celestial Fox clan. Wherever they existed, someone was there to protect them. No one wanted to harm the Celestial Fox clan and incur misfortune. Instead, they hoped for luck to follow them. Such was the case here as well. The life aura within the valley noticeably began to rise. Thanks to the senses granted by the Blue-Silver Emperor, Tang San could feel that the vegetation throughout the valley had an affinity for Dubai, almost as if it was feeling affection, and all of it wanted to protect Dubai. The Celestial Fox transformation is fantastic. Wu Bingji, Gu Li, and Cheng Zicheng, who had been meditating, all opened their eyes one after another. When they noticed Du Bai breaking through, they held their breath, silently praying for him. The light in Wu Bingji and Appo's eyes was the brightest. The team was growing and getting stronger almost every day, and as their eldest brother, he couldn't be happier. After burning his bloodline power during the last battle, his cultivation level had dropped, but as Tang San said, his bloodline was indeed purified. And the fact that he survived that ordeal unscathed was all thanks to the golden tree. Without the life energy here replenishing the one he had lost, bloodline purification would have been useless. He would have aged rapidly, and due to the lack of life force, he might never have been able to restore his cultivation. He already felt he wasn't far from returning to the 8th order. The pure bloodline power also allowed him to enhance his control over the ice element even further. Meanwhile, with the rich life energy surrounding him and his mental state much more stable, Du Bai and Appo's breakthrough process this time was smoother than when he broke through to the 5th order. While the power of fortune surged and billowed, his spiritual power remained steady. The third tail of the celestial fox gradually took shape in the sky. Tang San and Appo's celestial fox transformation power was also affected. He could sense subtle changes in his own discerning eye of heaven. Of course, he wouldn't break through now. He still needed to absorb and accumulate more. But this was very helpful for his understanding of the celestial fox transformation's evolution. Gradually, Tang San began to gain some insight. He had an inkling about the ability that the celestial fox transformation had at the 6th order. A strange scene then unfolded. The three-tailed celestial fox quivered slightly, and the third tail suddenly solidified. At that instant, a dark cloud suddenly formed above Du Bai and Appo's head, swiftly descending to envelop him. In the next moment, the third tail turned black. Everyone around immediately felt an extremely uncomfortable sensation taking over, and even the life energy around Du Bai instantly retreated. After quite a while, the black layer gradually faded. Du Bai's appearance returned to normal, and the tail turned white as well. Tang San and Appo's mouth twitched slightly. He could now fully confirm it. The 6th order ability of the celestial fox transformation was indeed the control of misfortune. The celestial fox transformation controlled fortune, so it only made sense that it could not only bestow luck, but also strip it away. The third tail had precisely that effect. Du Bai had been able to do this to some extent before, but now he was in full control of it, and just like he could enhance people's abilities normally, he could now make them weaker. Misfortune could be considered a curse, and when this curse was cast on an opponent, the effects were imaginable. With Du Bai and Appo's level of spiritual power, a bout of misfortune cast on an opponent would indeed have a noticeable impact on the battlefield. The light and shadow of the celestial fox solidified. The breakthrough was thus completed and the stabilization process began. Tang San sat beside Du Bai, crossed his legs and started meditating. He quietly felt the changes in Du Bai, and absorbed the celestial fox transformation's aura emanating from him, preparing for his own future breakthrough to the 6th order. The more he interacted with the celestial fox transformation, the more he felt its peculiarities. What would happen if the celestial fox transformation was cultivated to the 12th order and produced the full 9 tails? The fortune controlled at that time might have influenced the entire Phelan planet. He wanted to meet the celestial fox demon emperor. Of course, that would have to wait until he was strong enough. He didn't and Appo's want to be seen by the celestial fox demon emperor now, as the latter might be able to discern something regarding Tang San's origin. An hour later, Du Bai took a long breath and finally opened his eyes. After so many days of secluded cultivation, although nourished by life energy, he had still lost some weight. However, his eyes sparkled brightly, and his entire demeanor had transformed again, adding a touch of ethereal grace. He instinctively glanced at Tang San, who was meditating beside him, and a smile appeared on his face. He muttered to himself, "Finally, it's done. Finally. 6th order. I'm at the 6th order. I can feel it. The celestial fox transformation only truly begins at the 6th order. I can now control both fortune and misfortune. Everything is different now." Tang San opened his eyes and turned his head to look at Du Bai. "You need to practice controlling it more. The higher the level of fortune control, the greater the risk. In this world, fortune is always balanced. If you bestow luck in one place, misfortune will appear elsewhere. When your cultivation was lower, this wasn't very obvious. But as your strength increases, you need to be more and more cautious. Dubai blinked. Is that so? Tang San nodded. Of course it is. It and Appos. It's impossible to have only luck. If you could be 100% lucky every single day, the world would have changed long ago. Do you know why the celestial foxes are so few in number and why they don't act rashly? It's to prevent misfortune and having their own abilities backlash on themselves. You said it yourself. You're now at the 6th order and you can control misfortune as well, which means your celestial fox transformation is now the real deal. You must be careful with it. Dubai said with a cheeky grin, all right, I'll be careful. But as long as you're by my side, I don't need to worry about this stuff. Haha. He was naturally very happy now, having just broken through to the 6th order, something he never would have dared to even dream of. Before Tang San arrived, he had been nothing but a waste of air. Yet in such a short time, he had reached the 6th order. To him, Tang San was practically his god of luck. Tang San said helplessly, you need to keep what I said in mind. Yes, Dubai said, pretending to be serious. However, his understanding wasn't entirely wrong. If Tang San was by his side to support him, the backlash issue wouldn't be a significant problem. Dubai and Appos. Breakthrough was undoubtedly great news for the Shrek squad. Compared to their last team battle, their overall strength had improved again, Dubai eagerly said. Hey little Tang, when are we returning to the great beast fighting arena? I can't wait to cast misfortune on our opponents. Give them misfortune and keep the luck for us. How wonderful is that? Let them see how powerful I am. Tang San replied, you're overthinking it. Don and Appos. Do you think people will notice if you control fortune on the battlefield? You think there aren't any god-level experts among the spectators? Can you hide your control over misfortune? Tang San said solemnly, as we defeat more opponents, we'll attract even more attention. Senior brother Guli and Appos' Chrono Croc transformation and senior sister Chang Zicheng's Golden Rock transformation are eye-catching enough, but your Celestial Fox transformation is different. Among first-tier bloodlines, others might just draw interest, but if your Celestial Fox transformation is discovered, you might be captured and sent straight to the ancestral court. So you can never use it in the great beast fighting arena. Understand? Seeing Tang San's serious expression, Dubai deflated like a punctured balloon, his earlier excitement dwindling sharply. With a bitter smile he said, but I want to help everyone. You don't know how hard it is for me to watch you guys in trouble and not be able to help. I hate not being able to do anything for you. Tang San shook his head and said, no, you've been helping us all along. The luck you bestow on us works every moment, helping all of us. Without it, our injuries might be more severe or someone might even die. Don't underestimate yourself. You're part of the team and a very important part. Really? Dubai instantly brightened up again. What bullshit, Guli said grumpily from the side. You're only at the 6th order, and you're already showing off. Dubai raised an eyebrow, a strange smile appearing at the corner of his mouth. Light and shadow flickered behind him. The phantom of the celestial fox appeared, and the third tail suddenly turned black. What are you doing? Guli exclaimed in surprise. He instinctively tried to use time freeze, but it was too late. The black fox tail swayed lightly, and it was clear that time freeze could not supersede it. Only after the tail swayed did Dubai finally freeze. Guli immediately felt that something was off. He instinctively sat down cross-legged. Misfortune, huh? I'll just sit still, won't that be fine? If I don't do anything, how bad can it be? At worst, I won't cultivate. It's not like I and Appos. I'll get injured just sitting here, right? Just as he was thinking this, something seemed to fall from the sky. Startled, Guli instantly activated his Chrono Croc transformation, sweeping upward with his tail. With a quiet plop, a strong odor instantly spread. The collision didn't result in a shockwave, but it did result in a wave of nondescript goo covering Guli. It was some kind of giant bird in Appos' droppings. Oh, come on! Guli shouted and ran toward the lake. Hey, we still need to drink that lake water. Chang Zicheng couldn't help but shout. Wu Bingji raised his hand, drawing a stream of lake water to wash over Guli. But he had the ice nymph transformation, not the water nymph transformation, so the lake water he drew quickly dropped in temperature. Guli shivered under the icy water. Dubai I and Oppos. I'll get you for this, he growled, charging angrily at Dubai. But just then, a vine somehow appeared under his feet. With a thud, the furious Guli tripped and fell face-first into the dirt. Dubai blinked, quickly cast a luck spell on himself, and hid behind Tang San. Guli struggled to get up and was about to charge at Dubai again when he suddenly felt his bloodline power stagnate. He staggered. Clearly, the misfortune was still clinging to him. Hesitating for a moment, he decided against advancing any further. You little brat, get rid of this now. Shivering from the icy water and with bird droppings still clinging to him, he was as embarrassed as he could be. Dubai poked his head from behind Tang San's shoulder, grinning smugly. Now you know the price of crossing the Sun of Fortune. Guli ground his teeth in frustration but didn't dare move, genuinely fearing that something worse might happen to him. Watching the scene unfold, Wu Bingji was shocked. Dubai's control over fortune was stronger than he had imagined. Guli, after all, had a second-tier bloodline and a cultivation level higher than Dubai's. Yet under Dubai's control of misfortune, he seemed almost defenseless. What would this mean on the battlefield? The powerful effect of the celestial fox transformation gradually became evident as Dubai's cultivation improved. As Tang San had said, Dubai was becoming an increasingly important part of the team. With a flash of white light, Guli felt as if something unpleasant had left his body, and he heaved a sigh of relief. Huh, that's strange, Dubai said thoughtfully, stepping out from behind Tang San. How did you know, little Tang? What you said earlier, I think I felt something, Dubai muttered. What did you feel? Tang San asked. Dubai said, I feel like I can control a special power. After I gave Guli some misfortune, this special power seemed to increase. Seems like fortune. There's something like a cloud in my sea of consciousness, and it's growing. A cloud of fortune? Tang San's eyebrows raised slightly. A materialization of fortune? Dubai nodded. Seems like it. So the sixth order is not just about controlling misfortune. There have been some changes in the overall fortune itself. It seems there really is a balance between fortune and misfortune, like you said. The more misfortune I release, the more of these clouds of fortune there are. I wonder if I can use these clouds to bestow stronger luck than before. I need to test this more. Guli's mouth twitched as he said, Get away from us and don't test it on us. Dubai chuckled and said, Well, that depends on how you treat me. Tang San pondered for a moment and said, Senior brother Dubai, when you're experimenting, you can start from a few aspects. First, see if the luck bestowed through this cloud of fortune is different from before. Second, check if this luck can be targeted at specific events. Also, observe if there's any traceable sign during the process, or if it's completely intangible. Lastly, see if you can stop the light effects when you use your ability. If you can do it without any visible manifestation, that'll be great. Got it. I'll work on it. It's different from last time, though. There's been a qualitative change this time, and it's pretty major. Tang San nodded slightly and said, The celestial fox transformation seems to be different from other demonic god transformations. It seems that rather than the 4th, 7th, and 10th order, you get a qualitative change at 3, 6, and 9 tails. But you still need to be cautious. The stronger your ability to change fortune, the higher the risk of backlash, and if you do get backlash, it could be very severe. You shouldn't let your cloud of fortune deplete completely. Otherwise, you might run into big trouble. Understood. Dubai nodded thoughtfully. After listening to Dubai's explanation, Tang San felt a bit eager. Dubai's breakthrough meant that he could acquire his own third tail soon enough and personally experience the mysteries within.